Welcome to Puzzled and Chatty with me, Adam Gray, where I talk with people in the jigsaw and speed puzzling world and hear their stories and thoughts on this growing competitive activity and the puzzle community. In this inaugural giant episode, I sit down with one of Canada's best and most well-known speed puzzlers, Devon Donaldson. She has won every event there is to win at the Canadian Nationals and has been Canada's top finisher at the World Championships the past 2 years. We'll talk about her experiences, as well as what she is currently doing to promote speed puzzling in Canada and helping puzzlers set goals and improve their abilities and bringing people together from all over the country. Hi, Devon. Thank you for joining me on my first ever podcast, webcast, YouTube cast, whatever we're going to call it at this point. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
I'm so excited. Being the first one, it's always tough to do it. We're going to see how this goes. But yeah, we're just going to go through it, talk a lot about puzzling for the next however long this takes. And I'm, like I said, very excited for you to be here. So you are a Canadian-based puzzler, which I'm very happy with. So am I, obviously, with the big leaf on my chest right now. Yeah. Yeah, leaves everywhere. That's okay. Canadian-based puzzler. You're very well known in the Canadian puzzle community for most people. But just before we go into everything, can you just give us some background on yourself? Like, how did you even start puzzling? Is it from recently, or is this born and bred type of stuff?
There's kind of, when we ask that question to other puzzlers, Adam, there's kind of two camps, eh? There's
Yeah.
I've done it all my life, and then at some time in the pandemic, I discovered speed puzzling type of story. Or I saw this online, or a friend introduced me to it, and I wasn't a big puzzler, but now I love it, right? Generally, it's one of those two things. So for me, I've been puzzling my whole life. So ever since I was a little kid, with grandparents, with my family, by myself, 3D puzzles, regular puzzles, all the puzzles. And then, of course, we owe a lot in the puzzling community to Karen Puzzles. And I saw her video that covered the World Championships. And I was like, what? Speed puzzling is a thing? Where did that come? Where has this been all my life? Right. And I see you smiling. So I wonder if your origin story is a little similar.
I would think so. Again, yeah, I was very, very young when I started puzzling. I have a picture somewhere around here of my first 100-piece puzzle, and I was barely 3 years old. They called it Christmas, so I have that photo, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm similar to you. Saw Karen Puzzles probably later than you did, I think, as we'll get into. But yeah, same thing. It's like, oh, I was told by family I was kind of fast at puzzles, but I didn't know there was something you could do with that. It was like, congratulations, you have a useless skill, but it turns out it's not as useless as I thought.
That's it, eh? Yeah, you really get to the point where you're crushing 1,000-piece puzzles, and so people stop getting those for you for birthdays or for Christmas or holidays, and here's a 2,000, here's a 1,500, you're too fast. And
Yeah.
like you said, now we're on YouTube, so it is a useful skill.
Yeah, and it just seems to be growing, the whole community, like globally, but
Yeah.
specifically in Canada, just seems to be growing more and more. Was there like a specific, so you mentioned family and stuff from a younger age. Was it like a specific family member or something? Like for myself, it was my grandfather who was super into puzzles.
Yeah.
And I spent every time I was at their house, just that's what we would do. That was it. Is it anything with you, or is it just a whole family, everyone?
My grandfather on my mother's side actually
same.
was big into
Yeah.
puzzles, and my grandmother on that side too. There was always a puzzle on the coffee table or the kitchen table or something like that. And I have this vivid memory. I don't know, I must have been 7 or 8 or something. And my grandparents are watching the Blue Jays. Go Jays, we're on a winning streak. They're watching the Blue Jays on TV. And there was this puzzle on their coffee table. And I just sat there with my back to the TV, listening to the game with my grandparents, doing the puzzle. And then all of a sudden it was done. And the game wasn't over yet. So that was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
those little moments where it's just a nice memory. And that's one of them for me. So with my grandfather, yeah.
Yeah, that's similar type of stuff. TV somewhere going on, and but it's the puzzle was the focus, and yeah, they put it down and suddenly it's, oh, we're all done now. What? We'll get another puzzle. Um, so I'll skip really far ahead on this to more recent history and stuff like that. Obviously, huge into puzzling. Just to kind of like little background knowledge. How many do you do like a lot of puzzles every week, every day? Are you just to kind of give a so that people
Yeah.
listening or watching this are like, oh yeah, I like to puzzle, and they do like one every month or something, and then
Yeah.
it's like, wait a minute. Yes.
It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more in this house. I think there's two answers to this. One is as we're prepping for competitions, and the other is just general like leisure puzzles. So competition prep is pretty intense. I try to do a 500 piece with 3 to 5, depending on what I'm practicing, but a 3 to 500 piece every day leading up to competition, except the couple of days before I'll stop because I gotta, get really ramped up for competition. So I kind of go on pause a couple days before. But just leisurely, it's probably on average a puzzle a day. If I'm doing 1,000 piece for leisure, that'll kind of sit on the table for a couple of days, but that's where I break out the little, like the Ravensburger puzzle moments or something, just to feel that satisfaction of finishing something. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. Actually, some of our other Canadian puzzle friends, many of them, Elizabeth, Allison, Danielle, Katie, Sophie, Tess. So the people we were talking about. Liz put together a spreadsheet. We're doing a puzzle inventory to see if we're going to like do some practice before worlds and things like that. What puzzles do we all have? We need to get you on this list too. Actually, we'll do that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's good. So Liz has all the tabs for all the brands, and the Rav 500 is quite significant. And so I sat down and I do a lot of puzzles, so I have a lot of puzzles, and I went through my Ravensburger 500s, and I could start a library. I could start there's like 220 500s on my
That you
shelf
own?
that I own. I didn't know it was that many, and now I feel like maybe I have a problem. But I like
I'm only up to like
I practice a
80.
lot,
I think I'm at like 80,
which is still really significant.
but that's including I think that's including the thousands. I don't think I'm at, I can't even imagine what it is with the thousands. If you're at two something like
Uh,
220 just for 500s
mhm,
from one
yeah.
company. That's,
Yep. Yep. So well, I mean, if you're going to order the ones we can't get in Canada from the UK or in Europe, you want
yeah.
to, really have that shipping cost spread across a bunch of puzzles. So every time I order from there, they multiply. And then the USA Nationals ones, you have to have the whole set, right? You have to have the whole set of
Yeah.
those. It just, yeah, it's not a problem yet because I actually just got 3 new shelves delivered for the basement.
Nice. I have a storage locker with
Nice.
quite a
Oh,
bit of puzzles.
oh, so good. Okay. Yeah. We
I
need a
don't have the same
national
storage.
puzzle registry for everybody to know what everybody has.
Yeah. I don't want to see it all written down.
I
That's,
know, I know.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's a lot, but I laugh at the spreadsheet because I think I know a lot of puzzlers, myself included, that have spreadsheets made up that keep so many small details. Because it's just a way of organizing things, and then we do puzzles which organizes things, and it's just
Yeah.
we like the spreadsheets,
We
and
do, yeah.
just another puzzle. No, that's really funny. Yeah, I'll come back to all that stuff. Um, so speed puzzling is obviously the focus
Yeah.
for this channel overall, I guess, and how we know each other through speed puzzling and stuff like that. And so I just want to go through like the last few competitions, starting
Mhm.
with when Canada first started, really kind of saying, here, okay, we're gonna make ourselves known kind of on the
Yeah.
world platform. We're one of only, I think, a few, 3, 4 countries that have like an official organization status. There's a lot of official organizations, but then there's another level, and Canada's one of them. But yeah, so 2023
Mhm.
is our first national competition. Um, how I prepared for it is very different than how you prepared for it. You prepared for it by going to another competition before that. And was it a
My
big
my first
competition?
ever my first ever in-person competition, Adam. It was
super
totally
small, right?
reasonable to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely, and local.
Yeah, easy to
Yeah,
get to.
so it was Worlds 2023,
Yeah.
out of the gate. Um, how do you? Because I'm going to my first Worlds this year.
Yeah.
Um, how what is it might be similar. What was your mindset going to that? Like the national for Canada, much smaller compared to this huge broadcast event.
Mhm.
What's the mindset?
I so the I figured honestly, why not? Right? That's kind of my one of my favorite phrases. Why not? Something
Yeah,
my mother told me a long time ago when I was young. She's like, "You're already at no, so you might as well try." So
I
it's
like it.
the might as well try piece that I take to heart. So I had done my first virtual comp, did okay in it, and said, "Hey," I said to my partner Doug, I said, can we go to Spain?" He's like, "Sure, we can think about it." I was like, but can we go to Spain for puzzling?" He's like, "Okay. If that's something you want to do, I support you." And then we ended up in Valladolid, and I came 75th in the world in individuals, and that was a big shock. I had no expectations. I wanted to make it to finals in individuals. And I did. And then I was in the top 100. I was like, how did that happen? I'm just a little newbie here from Canada. It felt like there was like 5 people from Canada that year. There was more, but it felt
Yeah,
like such a small community compared to the other countries, and did pretty okay. But coming back to Canada and then going to the first nationals right after that, um, that was that felt like a lot of pressure because I had a lot of folks, it was awesome. Folks came up to ask, like, how was Worlds? What was that like? You know, we saw you in the live stream because at one point in the live stream, Val, one of the commentators out of the US, they showed me doing the qualification round with the Paris puzzle with the white sky. And she made a comment. She's like, "Oh, the girl from Canada is really struggling with the sky." So when I watched that back, I was like, "Yes, I was. It was very difficult."
yeah. So
Other folks have seen that, yeah.
you did the pairs events as well at Worlds.
I did, and that was just a for fun. So at that point, Doug had never done a puzzle by himself before, but he competed in Worlds with me in pairs. So, like, huge support system. The significant other support system that we have here is really
Love
quite great.
love
Yeah,
the
so
phrase.
to answer your
It-
question, mindset going into these 2, the first one I had 0 expectations. I just wanted to have fun. Make the finals would be cool, but nationals, I felt a little bit of pressure that I put on myself to say, you know what, I did okay at Worlds, and here let's see what else I can do. Let's see what we can do because I was really only seriously competing in individuals for the first Canadian nationals. Doug and I did pairs for fun, and I didn't do teams, and I regretted that after. I think teams is one of the most fun ways to compete, but, Adam, I don't think I told you this story. I don't think I've told you this story. So, nationals 2023, get there. I made it through the qualification round with that cat. Mhm.
yeah,
Animal
I have
fur, I bet you have it behind you. Folks, animal fur and I did not get along at that point, but then I buckled down and I practiced, and I'm okay at it now. But the animal fur dropped me to 4th place in qualifiers, but then I ended up in 1st in finals, which was super cool. But what happened between those 2 rounds was hilarious. So Doug travels a lot for work, and he was supposed to fly out that night to go overseas to Europe for some meetings and stuff, and his flight got canceled. So he had to rebook in the middle of the day. So I actually, between rounds, drove him to the airport, saw him off on his flight, and then came back for finals. And so, really, like, when I won finals, Doug wasn't even there. We just got to celebrate afterwards. So I won, and I looked around. I saw like Sandra and Russ and other people I knew. But that's when I really realized having your support system is super meaningful. So
yeah.
I like that story. So I shipped him off. I came back and I won. And
I mean,
with since he's attended nationals with me, I haven't won first again.
I was about to say, yeah, maybe distraction.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to send him back to Sweden.
Yeah, you love the support, but from somewhere else. It's
That's it. Yeah.
So you drove him to the airport. So you did the CARES event with him,
Yeah,
and
and right
then you took
after
him to
that,
the
I
airport,
booked it.
and
Yeah.
then back.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if there's people that are wanting to compete in Canada that are need to fly in, that's how close we are to the airport.
It
That
is pretty close. It was 20 minutes. It was really quite close. Yeah.
yeah, I drove home during or back to where I'm from between the events.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Yeah.
because I didn't have anything else,
Yeah.
and there's only so much to do in Georgetown. And I can't spend tons of time at Puzzles Canada. Shout out to Puzzles Canada. I only buy so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I left and went back home. Went to the gym for a bit and just
Nice.
kind of nice went for a nice walk, kind of reset because yeah, it was my first event ever. Um, no virtuals before that, nothing. That was the first event, and I was like similar to you with Worlds,
Mhm.
different scale, but yeah, it was very much. I want to make the final. That would be great.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anyone in the community, not a single other puzzler. So again, there's no reason for me to really stay in
Mhm.
Georgetown because I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just there to do my thing and get out. Um, yeah, I was like, if I make the finals, great. I think I'm fast. I don't know how fast other people are.
Mhm.
Like, why would people enter a competition for speed if they're not going to go for speed? And that's when we only had one qualifying round. It was
Yeah.
you you get in or you don't. It was top 20 or you go home.
Or
So
bust. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was which put a lot more pressure on it. But yeah, it was fun. But yeah, you won.
I did.
The
Yeah.
first Canadian national title holder, whatever.
Yeah.
Does that trying to think the right word here? Does that kind of change how you then approach everything that comes after that? I know it's a huge question, but finishing first at a national competition,
Mhm.
there's some stuff that goes along with that, I think. And there's a different like you already had a presence, and I think I mentioned this to you before. Like there's a kind of a presence when you're in the puzzle room, and they're like, "It's here. Ooh, there's Devon," and it just kind of like she's very good. And like watch her, that she'll be one to watch. And but there's just like that kind of presence. And when we came back in 2024 to talk about it in a second, it was very
Mhm.
much that's Devon, where it's
Mhm.
there's no more whispering or stuff. It's very much that's the one. Did it? How did that change everything? Winning the whole thing.
The the first thing that comes to mind, Adam, is imposter syndrome. Big time. So the sub 40 time I got in the finals, and I love that you have that puzzle behind you because it's one of my favorites. The Life is a Garden one, yeah. The sub 40 time was like 39:22 or 32, like something like that. That was the first time I'd ever done a speed run that fast, ever, even in practice, for a first try. And then to do that in a competition, that was wild. I was shaking. It was like the end there. That was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Um, and then afterward, it's like, wow, that was really cool. I'm at a goal I didn't even know I had. And now going into these subsequent competitions when I'm doing okay, but I'm not on the top spot anymore. It's there's two things that I had to process after that. The first one is um, the puzzle you get is kind of the luck of the draw. Right? So something like the one you've got behind you, The Life is a Garden, that is my kind of puzzle. It's like a bright illustration, lots of sections that you can sort. Like that's my
Yeah.
comfort zone. It just something happened that day to play to all of my strengths.
Yeah.
And then let's rewind a little bit to the puzzle that we had at this year's individual finals. Nothing about that was my strong suit. Not a thing. Not
There's
a
no
thing.
one.
Like I was like, I had to. So at the end there, I think many of us on the pink flowers, we shape sorted. And
Oh yeah.
then oh,
Had to.
exactly. And then do you use puzzle jail or piece jail when you puzzle?
Yes.
Yeah.
To a degree,
Yeah.
but I keep freeing things from puzzle jail too early. Like it's like very very small punishment time, like more like
Yeah.
a timeout, not really a jail sentence. Just
I like
you just
that.
sit here for a little bit. We'll come back to you, but let's sit here for a bit.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, the puzzle jail stuff is, yeah, that's hilarious. For reference, all the puzzles behind me
Mhm.
that you can see, there's more that you can't see, but everything behind me are ones that we've competed against each other head to head.
Oh,
So
that's so cool. What a cool idea. Okay.
it's all the competition because sometimes we're in different rounds, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's 10 rounds or something, I think in total that we've actually been in the same event. And I only have one. We'll get to it. There's only one that I've passed you on. But
Oh,
yes,
you
you're.
can say beat me. You're allowed. Cause man, like there are
I've
some
gotten
days when we're the
closer.
best
But
and
that's 20, we'll talk about 2025 in a second. I'm
okay,
very
we
excited for
go.
2025.
So back to puzzle
So
jail.
yeah,
Yes.
2023, you
Mhm.
win. Great. I made the finals. I was very happy with that. Which was good. I did not have the same experience in the final round. I was second last in the final round, 19th place. But I was like, hey, top 20, I'm good. I made the finals. I can go back next year, and it's fine. But yeah, it was good. Um,
Mhm.
let's get really far over all of that. Let's just focus on nationals for a second.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
Yeah.
worlds in a bit because that's going to be
So
that's big.
exciting though, because it's up next, right? So it's like
I
at the tip
know.
of the tongue.
It's at the time of recording this, it's 10 weeks and 2 days. Yep.
Ooh.
Not that I'm counting down. Yes. It's coming up. So yeah, let's skip ahead to Nationals
Okay.
2024 for Canada.
Yes. Yes.
Focus on Canada again, Maple Leafs. That's what we're here for.
That's that.
You're the returning champion.
Yep.
Uh, People know who you are. You're in all the events now, which we'll talk about in a second, but you're in all the events. Um, I'm still just doing individuals because again, I don't know anyone in this community. No one. I didn't start reaching out to people after that first nationals. I was like, good, I'm done, and away I go.
Yep.
Still didn't do a virtual event, so Canadian Nationals was my second ever event as well. There was nothing in between. It was just, hey, I did okay last time.
Yeah.
And I had a broken hand the first time as well. I don't think you knew who I was, but I had a broken hand, broken thumb in the first Canadian Nationals,
And
which
you made
definitely
it to the
threw.
finals?
Yeah. So like I don't know
That's
how. Um,
awesome.
so I just figured I might do better with two thumbs
Yeah.
in the second one. But what's so you're going in as the defending champion.
That's
Do
it. Yes.
you honestly, do you think you have a good chance of winning again?
Eventually, I do. Yes.
Well, in 2024,
Oh,
specifically,
in
not ever again.
2024. Yes, in general, yes, I think I'm very
Yeah,
fast.
obviously.
But
Yeah.
in 2024, I was hopeful. I was hopeful. I won first in the qualification round. That gave me that extra like confidence boost. Wasn't by much. Yeah, it was that cute one there. I like that one. Two of a kind, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Not by much because I knew there were some fast folks like Katie, who we'll talk about as well. But I thought, you know what, I've got a chance. And then sat down at the table. I opened the bag and it was a super busy puzzle. And immediately I'm like, oh no. So
For the funds.
for the finals, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Hello,
vinyl. What one's that one called? Vinyl.
uh, hello, vinyl.
Hello, vinyl. Yes. They used that one in Worlds too. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, right after it, and that was
Hmm.
the same year. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
my mindset broke. Like I couldn't get into flow. So being coming in fourth, which was my individual result, and
yeah,
not being able to get myself into that more of a flow state that I had that first year,
yeah,
I was happy with it. I was disappointed because I knew I could do better. I knew it.
yeah,
Um, but something that I've had to work on is how do I, even when faced with a puzzle that doesn't play to my strengths, how do I still get into that flow? So that's constant. That's a constant practice. That happened a little less with the one from this year's nationals in the final. The beautiful art. It is actually quite pretty. The speed run is
just to
wildly
clarify,
difficult.
yeah, just to clarify, in case the artist
Yeah.
watches this, the image itself
Oh, it's
is
beautiful.
very good, very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's just a very challenging puzzle
Super
image.
challenging.
Yeah,
Super challenging. Pulled out all the stops, did piece jail, did shape sorting, da 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 da. I felt like I was a little bit more in flow last year, even though it was a more difficult puzzle. but yeah, so walking in, I thought, you know what? I'm gonna give it my all. I would love to be a two-time winner. Now that we know it's possible, because Megan just did it. She
Yep.
is so impressive. It's awesome to watch. And she's going to Worlds, which is gonna be pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excited for that. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, when Hello Vinyl was the puzzle in the finals, which I barely made into. It was by seconds. I got through. I walked in very confident, going,
Yeah.
I easily made the finals. And in the second Canadian Nationals, it was there's two qualifier groups, and they're gonna split.
Mhm.
Like there'll be some good in one and some good in the other. Whatever. So I was like, I'm gonna make this through. I got two hands that work. It's gonna be so simple. And then yeah, two of a kind came out, and it's with me it's plants. And if I
Um,
just see a plant, I know it's not the big feature on there, but
mhm.
if I at the time if I saw a plant, I'm like, well, okay, well we're done. And my mind just kind of shuts itself down. And I
Yeah.
had no game plan. I was like, I'm gonna do the edges, and I'll do something and something. I don't think I did the edges until like more than halfway through. I was all over the place. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was like the top 23 went through and I was 22nd or something like that, or 21st. It was barely through. But yeah, and Hello Vinyl, that's my type of puzzle. I
Cool.
loved it. It's all random. So it's very nothing overlaps with each other. Like there's blue and that's blue's done once
Yeah.
that's it. There's the yellow. Great, the yellow's now done. There was flowers on the booklet, but done. Once that's
Yeah.
done, it's done. So
Yeah.
I was like, I like this. This is more my speed.
Yeah.
But I was in the table beside Megan.
Oh
Um,
boy.
yeah. And but I didn't
No
know.
pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. And she was in the second qualifying round, so she was with I think that was Paris postcard was the set
Yeah.
which this is harder.
I know. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I will yeah. People kept saying although their times were slower, I don't understand. It's up for debate, but it's not. That is hard. It's and she won the Paris postcard, but I didn't think much of it. It was like it's Paris postcard.
Mhm.
I would have done better with Paris postcard. Not better than her, but just better as a time
Mhm.
than her. But yeah, and then she finished. I was like, oh, we're at like 40 minutes. I'm doing really good. And I looked at her. Oh, done. Oh, um, how fast is everybody else going? Because that was the first time I've seen like see it finish that fast, and
Mhm.
it was there was some pressure. But yeah, it's fourth place. I think second. Who was second was Katie,
Katie was second. Yep.
and Tracy I think is third that year.
Yep.
Um, Katie features heavily in 2025. We'll talk about her in a few minutes, but um, for the people that might get discouraged, and we'll talk about this more in a bit, but people that might get discouraged for not finishing where others might expect them to, or where you yourself might expect to.
Mhm.
Um, do you have any advice just for that initial like, kind of reaction? Not necessarily like, the goal setting aspect, but
Yeah.
like how do you walk away with it's kind of disappointing. Like there's positives. Still finishing fourth is great. There's positives from it, but it's not first.
It was not first, and it did not feel like first, and it
Yeah,
felt disappointing. And if I could give myself at that time some advice, I would say just feel your feelings. It's okay to feel disappointed.
yeah,
It's okay. You'll process through it. You'll look back and think about all of the other cool stuff that happened. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you're like, okay, but that was still pretty fast,
yeah,
right? Like that was still okay. So, but it's okay to feel that heaviness or that disappointment walking off the competition floor.
yeah,
And then once you, and I know we are going to talk about goal setting, but once you can wrap your head around the most motivating goal setting for you as a puzzler, those feelings fade a little bit faster, but you're going to feel disappointed.
yeah,
And that's okay. And if you don't feel disappointed, maybe that's because you set some pretty specific, pretty relevant goals for yourself so you could thrive no matter what spot you came in the ranking. But yes, I was disappointed. That's okay. I picked myself up and we had some fun in teams and in pairs.
Yeah. So yeah, move over to pairs.
Yeah.
You've dropped your partner Doug. He's gone.
Sorry, Doug.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's all about the wins at this point. It's but no. So you join up with Sophie Helg
Yeah.
for the first time. Also a fantastic puzzler. You're paired together at Worlds, I believe, as well.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, and so you win pairs instead, which national champion in pairs now. How does it differ? Like,
It's yeah,
or does it?
well, it to me, and I know not everybody's going to agree with this, and that's okay. I think puzzling with other people, like in a pair or on a team, is so much more fun than puzzling individually. Like there's so much pressure. You're there, you're by yourself, it's you versus that one puzzle. Whereas if you have a pair, especially I've been so fortunate with my teams and my pairs, they're just all fabulous people. Um, you can share the load a little bit. Like when you're going into that really frustrated place, somebody can pull you out, right? Or you can do that for others and feel that little bit of extra sparkle because you were able to help your pair or your team. So I love puzzling with other people. Um, when it came to the 2024 nationals, Sophie and I ended up winning our qualification, which was cool. I love circle puzzles. So that was like right up our alley for that one. Cause I think that was astrology we did, the circle of colors astrology. And then we had the 1000 piece, that origami one. And we came in third. And that was
Third.
cool. Yeah, that
So
was cool
sorry, it
to
was
podium.
third.
Yeah.
Third you got. It's teams you got first
Teams we won.
in
Yes, teams we
2024.
won.
Yeah. So third. Still podium. Also
Yeah,
good.
it
Yeah.
was cool.
It's hard to keep track of all your podium finishes and everything. There's just so many of them
That's
where
so kind of you to say. Thank you.
I know there's firsts all over the place. It's just
It's where
trying
they
to figure
came
out where
up.
they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, still third, which is an
Yeah.
improvement from the 2024 result, the 2023 result
Yeah.
at nationals, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, you won teams,
We did.
and that was that the cat puzzle?
Was, yeah, the
Yeah,
cat and all the frames and all the cat. And if you'll recall, my kryptonite from 2023 was cat fur. So the team had a really good laugh when all the cats came up in our team's finals. That was lovely. But I had worked really hard on animal fur, so I was
yeah,
ready for it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Same. It's fur and foliage are my two difficult things. But it's just doing more. I don't enjoy doing those puzzles during practice, but I know I need to because puzzle makers seem to love having those two, especially
They do.
plants. They love to have plants.
Mhm.
And if anyone from Ravensburg is watching this, we don't need plants in every round. Not necessary. Mix up Hello Vinyl, more of these. Love it. Like
Mix it up. That's it. Yeah.
Toronto postcard, make a new one. There's lots of stuff that
That would be so cool. The Toronto postcard. Oh, can we put
supplements.
in requests?
Nationals 2026.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so you win that. That's great. And then more recently, National 2025. Um, this is, I've now kind of started talking to more people in the puzzle community at this point. I was getting kind of bored with driving all the way to Georgetown and doing two puzzles and then driving all the way back. Cause like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll maybe try the pair. And I found a partner and then someone asked me to join a team and that all kind of came together,
Sure did. Yeah.
which made the weekend a lot more tiring.
Mm.
Shockingly tired. I'll talk about it in a second, but I was so tired after Sunday night that Monday was just a write off. Like I just slept almost straight through.
Wow.
Because it's a workout for the brain. But it's a lot of standing. There's a lot more involved than just doing two puzzles. Let's focus on the individual rounds. This is the first time we've had table seating as
Yes.
well, which was fancy. We got our fancy cards with our
It was
tables
cool.
for all the qualifying rounds. Because of my disaster two of a kind from the year before, I don't go into these competitions with any confidence at this point, because there's no way to know what that qualifying round is going to be.
That's
I
it.
know we've jumped up in a number of people, more people have joined. Um, Puzzling, and people are getting faster. Uh, Talking to people in the community, I realize how fast everyone's getting and how much they're practicing. And virtual competitions are now here, and there's so much going on. You get seated, number one seed,
Yep.
uh, table one, loving it.
No, 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 no. And
I
there's
have a guess
it's
as to why, but why do you, why not?
it's less about like that was okay. Two things. That was super cool to see on our cards, table one across the board. We had one for individuals, one for pairs, one for teams. So that was pretty neat. That was a little bit of a like a confidence boost, trying to get the mindset right. And then not only am I at table one, but I'm at seat one. So the
Yeah,
side that is surrounded by the crowd,
yeah,
surrounded. Um,
yeah.
that was that was difficult to compartmentalize for me. It's part of competing in person. I totally get it. If I got the seat again, would I be excited about it? I would probably be a little bit more prepared to compartmentalize the distractions there. Uh, That was hard. That was hard because there were folks, which is fine. You get that at Worlds even more. It's even louder at Worlds. It's a far more intense environment in the dome. People cheering, the announcers, cameras walking around, da da da. So there's more distractions. I guess I didn't mentally prepare myself enough for being table one, seat one with all the people right there. It was really comforting though, being next to Katie. So that was really quite nice because I had a friend right next to me as like a support system there. But table one's tough. And table one in that particular venue was right by these doors that led outside to beautiful parkland, great spot. But the people walking by would cause shadows every time they walked by on the table. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna if I can qualify for the finals, I won't care what place I get in the qualifications. If I can get top eight, that means I get my own table, which is pretty cool. So I'll just shoot for top eight. And I think I came in seventh, something like that. Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, good enough. Good enough. We're done. On to the
Yeah,
next one.
yeah. So I remember it was seven because I finished. That's the closest I've ever gotten to you because I was eight.
Nice.
Uh,
At
right,
your own
right
table.
after. Separated by a couple minutes. There's clear divide between the two, but yes, it was getting the top eight for that full table in the finals, which proved to be absolutely necessary.
Game
Um,
changer for those of us who
yeah,
are up there. Which and we might talk about this later, but I kind of I got so excited about it, my own table, but I almost feel like it's an unfair advantage to the people who are already fast. Right?
yes.
I don't know. They do it at Worlds too. It's not just about Canadian. They do it all over the place on this. And I was happy to have it selfishly. But I do wonder if maybe like globally they need to think about, some more standardizations there to say that, if people have to share, everybody has to share. Because then the results are truly um, based on the same competitive experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway,
'cause-
just some food for thought. Yeah.
yeah, and I that crossed my mind as well.
Mhm.
Because say like if I finished, I think 30 seconds later in my round, I'm at a much smaller table. I am not finishing in the position I did
Mhm.
at nationals that year. I'm definitely far, far back because having that extra space, especially with the pink
Yeah.
of that tree, like when I we'll skip ahead. Okay, in the finals, the with the pink tree,
Mhm.
I knew it was going to be so difficult. I took it all out and just moved it away. I could barely even like it was just out of my sight line,
Mhm.
because it was a 20% of the puzzle. So if I don't need to deal with those pieces, they're gone. Which like same with taking out your the edges. Again, that's
Mhm.
about it's when you count all the edges up, it's about 20% of the puzzle is just the edge.
Yeah.
Uh, and once that's out of the way, you're left with very little in front of you.
Yeah.
But because we had
Mhm.
a big table, we could do that.
Yeah.
If I fin 30 seconds, like I said, 30 seconds later, I'm not being able to spread all those pieces into uh, different sections. So
Mhm.
yeah, it does though. It does kind of push. It does reward some of the top people,
Sure does.
and it lets you focus on them more as well. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
some benefit.
there's pros and cons.
Yeah, there's no
And
perfect way with it.
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
that
so
particular puzzle, having your own table, definitely an advantage. So,
absolutely necessary.
yeah.
Yeah, so you're at table one. I, for some reason, was put at table two, and because it was based on the year before. So Hello Vinyl got its revenge on me, anyways. I loved the puzzle until it put me at um, that spot. So yeah, the two tables together goes you, Katie, Ivy, who is one of the people that I thought was going to do very well and did,
Yeah.
myself, and then Liam, I think. They were across from me, and I'm not sure who the other person was at that table. And I was like, all these people, they're very, very good. And it was the imposter syndrome kind of sets in. But I hadn't
Yeah.
won anything. I never finished higher than 10th at a national competition. So it was very odd with it, but it did give some extra, okay, maybe I'll do better. And there's the pressure. Sophie was beside Liam. That's who it was.
Sophie. Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, so we go back into, I missed this question. I definitely wanted to ask it. We go back into nationals. You're coming off a fourth place finish from the year before. But you still have you have the team's title, and you were a national champion. Um, before, in the week leading up to it, and I know you saw them and you messaged and stuff, I released my picks to win, potential picks, top six people that could win nationals, the whole thing. And um, I had my list already ready to go. But I also reached out to posted my stuff on Instagram and asked questions going. And a lot of Canadians reached out, and a lot of non-Canadians messaged as well. So people are recognizing Canada, with that we have a bit of a presence. We're small, we're quiet, but we have a bit of a presence.
Yeah.
And by far, you had the most people go. Devon likely has this. It's definitely the fan favorite vote as well. You can be honest. Did that put extra pressure on? And were you like, uh oh?
I don't think it put extra pressure on. I do think that my fifth place finish, my first reaction was, "Thank God it's over."
Yeah,
It was. My second reaction was, "I'm okay with that. I don't know what place I'm in, but that was so difficult for me. I feel good about that finish." My third reaction was, "Oh, I hope that doesn't disappoint anybody." Right? Because you're like, I love this community. I love that we talk about top puzzlers, that we root people on, and I was trying really hard this year. I put in tons of hours in practice. I, you know, really wanted it and it didn't happen, and that's okay. And I felt the disappointment. I got through it super quick because there were so many other good things that came out of that. But I don't think it's impossible in the future. And I really appreciated that post, Adam, that you did. And then, everybody who, thought I had a shot. I don't give up on me. Don't give up on me. I'm coming back.
I don't see that happening. I don't see people giving up on you
Yeah.
at any time in the near future. But and she asked me to mention Megan.
Oh, she's a rocket ship.
Yeah,
It's yeah.
back to back championships,
Yeah.
first place. It's annoying that she's coming in as one of the younger participants as well, which means she has so many more years
Mm.
ahead to keep doing this over and over and over again. I'm older, so I can be a bit jealous at that. And but it's, I don't know how you don't pick her to repeat in 2026. And
Well,
it's,
if I if I'm honest with myself, Adam,
you're gonna win.
I feel like I'll be able to scrape my way up into the top 3 in 2026, but I think Katie's got it. I do. I think she is gonna take the crown next year.
Yeah.
And I hope it's me, but
I hope it's
I
me, but
yeah, right?
I have
No, we
realistic
all hope it's
expectations.
ourselves. But I think she's got it. She is working really hard. She is incredibly impressed. She's consistent. She's
Yeah.
insightful. She practices with intention. And I'm not at all saying Megan doesn't do any of those things. I think when you're hungry for an achievement you haven't had yet, might put her over the edge for next year. So because Katie's a world-class puzzler,
Yeah.
right? She's this close. And I'm speaking about her more than others because I'm like I know her best. But and I know I see the behind the scenes pieces and I see how intentional she is with her practice and it's quite impressive. So I hope it's me. I think it'll be her. Wouldn't surprise me if it's Megan.
Yeah. So let's stick on Katie for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do know her the best out of the people we mentioned so far. She was your partner
Mhm.
for nationals this year, and
Yep.
this is, I am right at this one. You did win
We did.
pairs at nationals this year, meaning you are the only person to have won all three events. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, because Megan's won the other two individuals and not one the pairs or teams yet.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, you have one. And there's a very big asterisk there. Yes, because who knows? Um, but yeah, you come in first for pairs. You've won
Mhm.
everything there is to win at
Mhm.
Canada now, but you have another partner, and it's Katie. Well, as we mentioned before, we specifically focus on Katie.
Mhm.
You change partners
I
again.
did. Yes.
We'll talk about it in a second, but your team has changed again.
Mhm.
Um, why?
Yeah. So the partner thing, okay, let me start. I need to back up the truck a little bit at the beginning. So the reason why Doug was drafted in to be my partner is because I didn't know anybody.
Yeah,
And I wanted to, right? So I wanted to participate in pairs, and I
yeah,
didn't know enough people to do teams. So in the first year at Worlds, the first year at Nationals, it was me by myself in more of a competitive mindset, and it was Doug and me just having fun. Or it was fun for me. I don't know. I think he came around. Um, so that was the starting point to get to know puzzlers. So after nationals in 2023, I went up to Sophie because she came in second, right? And we were just chatting. I was like, "Congratulations, that was amazing!" Da da da. And then we would message each other on Facebook, I think it was, and just kind of stay in touch. And then said, "Wouldn't it be cool if maybe we teamed up one day?" And then that just worked out. She ended up saying she was going to Worlds, that she was coming back to Nationals. So Sophie was one of my first puzzle friends in this whole cool Canadian puzzle community. It was great. It was great to get to know her. She's fast. She's funny. She's
yeah,
boisterous at the table. She keeps you focused. She keeps everything lighthearted. And we just got along so well and we puzzled really well together. So that was great. That was a great experience at nationals. It was a great experience at worlds. Because once you start puzzling with people, especially if you're doing travel competitions,
yeah,
you they become your friends. It just you can't stop it. It's just it's inevitable,
yeah,
right? So when Soph and I we had a great time puzzling in pairs. Um, then we were talking about this year's Worlds, like 2025 Worlds, before registration opened way back in the fall. Um, and she decided she's not going to Worlds this year, which is very disappointing to me. But what that did mean is I had to slide into some other people's DMs to see if they were going to Worlds to see if anybody wanted to puzzle with me. So Katie being the second place person from the individual round last year, and Katie and I had a couple interactions online. She had posted some stuff and on Instagram, and I replied to it, but very limited. But once I learned that Soph was not going back this year, I said, well, I don't know, maybe I have to make more friends. So I slid into Katie's DMs and I asked her if she was going and if she wanted to team up with me. And bingo bango, we're national champions in pairs and we're going to podium at Worlds this year. So that was it was a very natural, like organic transition from Doug to Sophie to Katie now. Yeah.
That's good. It's I was hoping it was gonna be the case where you're just kind of like dropping people and hoping for something better, or so I was like, wow, okay, there's some viciousness behind it, but it's not
Right.
the
Not
case
very
with that.
Canadian. Yes.
We still want to win.
Yeah.
We're just nice about it. Uh, the No, that's good. That's funny that you just went down the list of the finishers and go, okay, well, who's next on the on the list?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See if they're going, because some people on the fence, like someone like Tess, right? So Tess is on my world's team for this year, and I had seen her results, and she's super speedy. And actually, Liam too, I had seen their results, super speedy. But the West Coast Puzzlers, I don't really know very well, so I just kind of pinged them both and said, "You ever considered going to Worlds? Like that would be super cool to see you guys there, represent Canada, la la la." And then Tess was like, "Yeah, I'm going. Let's do this thing." So she's on the world's team with myself and Katie as well as another one of our friends from Ontario, Danielle. So we're gonna have a blast. We actually in a couple of weeks we have a puzzle weekend. So the four of us, Tess is coming in from Vancouver area into Ontario. Katie's
Nice.
coming in from Quebec. And the four of us, we have an Airbnb and we're going to spend the entire weekend practicing puzzles in preparation for Worlds.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's very tough in Canada with
very
having,
tough. Yeah.
yeah, you have three provinces fairly spread, well, especially the West Coast, very spread out, very difficult. We'll talk about tests in a bit, but uh, yeah, very. That's good that you're able to do that.
Mhm.
What I find funny and it really stood out for your nationals team this year. A lot of the people that you puzzle with are Quebec based,
Yeah.
but you are not.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like, you're just making it more difficult on yourself
I know. Yeah.
for the practicing. So for people like the states will be somewhat similar. Canada, Europe, massive advantage for being much smaller and closer.
Mhm.
How do you how do you get all that practice in? Because I'm struggling with that right now. With getting ready for Worlds with my partner, which I'll talk about in a bit.
Mhm.
But how like how do you practice in that long distance scenario?
There's, yeah, th- I can only speak to what's worked for me so far.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of the team dynamic in puzzling is about getting to know your teammates.
yeah,
Right. So if I use my nationals team this year as an example, um, it was myself, Katie, Sophie, and someone I didn't know, but Sophie knew quite well, Jacinthe. So that's how I ended up on the Montreal team
yeah.
from Toronto, is because we were pairs, and then we just partnered up to be a quad and competed like that. And I ended up going to Montreal to spend, and Jacinth hosted us. It was great. We spent the entire day puzzling at her place to try and get those team dynamics smooth. And you know what? It's a blast puzzling with those ladies. And I do not speak French. I understand a little bit more than I speak. I've actually invested in French classes in the last year because a lot of my puzzle friends are francophone from Quebec. So they were so patient with me in speaking a little bit more English than French and you know translating as and when needed. But I understand a lot of the exclamations in French. I'll call it that because sometimes we explain things as we're puzzling. But we're able to come together with the love of this one thing, and it breaks through language barriers, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. So,
It,
but
it-
getting to know your team, it goes to the heart of communication, no matter what language it's in, or Franglish, doesn't matter. Getting to know your team and having that communication. Right. So one of the things that I talk a lot about both in puzzling and in, my day job is psychological safety being the cornerstone to high performance teams. So if you can feel like you can make a suggestion or you can make a mistake and your team isn't going to, poke you in the eye over it, or you can do a debrief and say, this worked for me, this didn't work for me. Can we take 30 more seconds and pull more edge pieces so I can
yeah.
be more effective at this piece? I always drop a piece on the floor. Always. Okay. It is kind of my brand now. I always drop a piece on the floor.
I think
But
every team has one person that does that. I think there has to be one
there
person
has
always.
to.
'Cause my team had someone that did that as well every single time.
Right? It's every time. So
And
we
one
laugh
piece
about it now,
makes a difference.
right? We
Which
laugh about it now. I feel like I can speak openly and challenge my team in like a very productive way. Like that was a real conversation, that example I just used, the year that we won teams. It was myself, it was Corinne, it was Sophie and Caitlin, who moved to California. We forgive her. She's still Canadian. Yeah. Um, but we miss
no.
her dearly, Caitlin. If you're watching this, we miss you. Um, she's still in the group chat. It's okay. It's fine. So the four of us had never puzzled together as the four of us. We had puzzled in different combinations and permutations, but we got to the table and we did pretty good in our qualification round, but we did not do a great job pulling the edges. And I was on edges. I'm usually the edge person. Um, so
You
it
were
was,
you were not in my qualifying round for
yeah,
that
we
one.
did the cottage scene.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that image.
It might have been better than the snowscape. Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah. I forget what yours was called, but it was all snow.
No, ours was Halifax Harbor.
Oh,
Uh
sorry. I'm talking about the year before. Yeah.
yeah,
2023
yeah, so
was the
yeah.
snowscape. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
No, our
when
puzzle
we
was
were,
much easier than
yeah, I loved that harbor one, by the
yeah.
way.
It
That
was
style,
easy.
so
It
good.
was definitely easier, and we had practiced. So I'm very much the opposite. My team, and we were all from Ontario.
Mhm.
We just kind of met centrally once every few weeks or so.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
think we did 30 or something puzzles in total in preparation, by far more than most teams. Your team never puzzling with each other before nationals. The team that won didn't meet until the day of nationals as
I know,
well.
it's so
They had
cool. I
one
love that
practice.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't love it as much for very specific reasons, but um, which we'll talk in a second
Yeah.
because it was unique. But yeah, I think it's having that team practice.
Mm.
It's still funny that you're the only Ontario-based person from a Montreal-based team.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So for that team, we did get the practice, which was super cool. For the year that we won teams, the previous year we didn't.
oh, okay,
Like
so
Sophie
you
and
were
I were pairs. We had spent a whole fun day practicing. Um, I knew Caitlin because she went to Worlds the first year I went to Worlds, so I met her there. But I don't think we had the opportunity to really puzzle with each other. And then I had never puzzled with Corinne either, so we very quickly whipped ourselves into a high performance team. We did. It was so cool. We show up, we puzzle, we did the debrief. I begged them to take 30 more seconds for those edge pieces. Like that's a real moment that we were able to say, yes, we're going to do this different. And yes, we're going to do that different. But we communicated so well off the bat. It worked. And I forget what the time difference was between us and second place, but it maybe like 11 or 12 minutes in the final, in the finish time that year. So something we did worked well. Right.
yeah,
And that was like one of the key moments, I think, in my puzzling experience that helped me understand that you don't have to, you don't have to live locally and puzzle together often. Can it help? Of course, but you don't have to, right? There's certain other things that can come into play, which segues to this year, where I was able to spend that day with Katie, Sophie, and Jacinth. You just mentioned, Adam, that you had done 30 practice puzzles, which how fun would that be? I would love. Maybe we'll do 30. Maybe that's our goal for our puzzle weekend for our world's team is do 30. But
I'd
the
be
first
impressed. You did
place
it in 1
team,
weekend.
tell you what.
It's no, that's good that you're able to practice with them this year.
Yeah.
All the Montreal based ones. You um pairs you won. How did you feel about that pairs final? Was that the first time that we've had 1,000 piece pairs final, or was the year
No,
before?
that was the year before we had the 1,000-piece origami one,
Okay, because
which
it's
was super
only
cool.
I looked it up. So I'm as someone who's trying to collect as many puzzles as I can. I try to get all the championship puzzles from all
Yeah.
over the world and such. Um, Ourselves, U.S. nationals last year and worlds are the only 1,000 piece final pairs. No other country does it for their nationals, so it's very unique to us and worlds. Yeah, I have the puzzle here, the Toronto-based puzzle. Thoughts on it? I've
I
heard some mixed
loved it.
reviews.
I
You did?
loved it. I loved it
Okay.
so much, and plus, like, I live in Toronto, so that's my backyard, essentially, so I saw it, and I said to myself, "We can't lose." Like, this is a gift. This is a beautiful image. This is built for a pairs experience. Like, let's go, and we did. We had a great time. Katie and I have a different puzzling synergy than Sophie and I. Sophie and I chat through the whole thing. We chat, 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 like the whole time. With Katie and I, we chat, 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 talk about strategy. And
Yeah.
then both of us are able to somehow just flip into a flow state. And then like one of us comes up for air and says, "I'm struggling with this. Can we switch?" Yeah, let's switch. And then we go back to flow. And it works in a really interesting way that worked especially well for that particular puzzle.
Yeah, I saw that was the first time I had participated in a pairs nationals event. The first time doing 1,000 piece in a competition as well for anything, actually,
Mhm.
first 1,000 piece one. And I'm very much the same. We can talk at the start, going, okay, what's the strategy? What stands out to you? What stands out to me? We kind of have our roles, and
Yeah.
then I'm very much okay. That's it. Well, I'll talk to you in a little bit. I know you're right here,
Yeah.
but we'll talk in a bit. And yeah, I think that it's you make a good point with that. Having if that good communication and being able to admit as well, hey, I'm struggling with this
Mhm.
one. Having a partner that says that, or yourself saying that,
Yeah.
because sometimes you just need those uh, fresh eyes. I did some pairs practice on the weekend with Riley, who finished in second
Yeah.
in nationals this year.
They're
Outstanding puzzler.
super fast.
Yeah, they're so good,
Oh my God.
and but um, they're helping me get ready for worlds because I know they're
Awesome.
very fast.
Yeah.
Um, it's nice to it's a benefit to practice with different types of puzzlers. And um, at one point during one of the puzzles that we were doing, they said to me, um, "I'm struggling with this. I've been on it for a bit. I can't really see it. It's messing with my eyes.
Mhm.
Can you work on it and I'll switch to something else?" It's like, yeah, great. And move it over. And I went through it fairly quickly. And from the outset, it could look like, oh, well, then you're just better than Riley. Absolutely not. It was just those fresh eyes, and let them move on to something else. So we're not wasting that time. And I saw that with the two of you and Katie, because you were somewhat close to my table, so I could hear some discussion back and forth, but
Mhm.
not a lot. And then I was right beside the second place finishers, Tess and Liam, and they were constantly moving stuff around. I've never seen pairs partners moving things or switching roles as often as as they did. I'm like, how are you getting anything done? Because you're not staying in one thing for very long.
Yeah, yeah.
But I kept glancing over. I'm like, you're getting a lot of stuff done because it was those constant fresh eyes. And then
Mhm.
right behind them was third place with Riley and Amanda. I also know that when they puzzled, that they switched things off quite a bit, and it was a
Yeah.
very much different mindset for me because I hadn't been doing that in pairs. I do it now,
Yeah.
but it's yeah, that communication aspect and being able to admit that, hey, can you help me out? It's um, like you said at the very start. There's that you don't need to rely just on yourself, so it can be more fun when you're in
Mhm.
pairs and teams because there's other people to help out. And
That's it. That's
yeah,
it. And if you find yourself on a team or in a pair where you don't feel comfortable saying, "Oof, I am super stuck here," or "Guys, slow down on this piece," or um,
yeah,
you're getting pushback on your ideas. They're not all going to be golden ideas. Sometimes you should get pushback. But if you have something you really want to try in a practice and you're getting pushback, that might not be the fit for you. And
yeah,
that's okay. Or maybe you need to have maybe a trickier conversation with folks to say, listen, we need to realign. We need
yeah,
to realign on how we're doing this together. Like I haven't puzzled with too many pairs, but I've puzzled with enough folks to understand sometimes you have to say, okay, that is not working for me. Can we try this instead? So if you
yeah,
come with a suggestion, that can be really helpful to try and build on that psychological safety piece, which if you don't have that, you're not going to be as successful as you could otherwise be.
yeah. It's those conversations can be difficult, and
For sure. Yeah,
it's
well, it's
very
humans, right? It's just trying to get
yeah,
along with people. And like you said, I know we're all Canadian, but we're also competitive and we have goals and we want to work together on things. And
yeah,
sometimes it fits, sometimes it doesn't. Again, I've been so lucky to puzzle with the people I've puzzled with. Um, we
same,
we have
same,
fun too,
yeah.
a lot of it is still about having some fun. None of this is that serious, right? It can
Uh,
be really fun too.
yeah. I don't know what you were like when you were younger, if you were into like sports and other stuff like that, but like I've always been into like team sports and individual sports and very much I I want to do very well. So I have a very competitive mindset
Yeah.
where if I'm competing, especially with teams and pairs, teams
Mhm.
specifically, but teams and pairs, going and going, I want you to care as much about this as I do.
Yes.
Um, we might, and I'm like going to pairs this year. There was no way that we were winning pairs, and we were both on the same page about that. But we are also on the same page of we still want to do very well. If I had a partner that goes, it's just for fun, you're not you're not my partner anymore. Like
Not a
if
fit, right? And
it's
that's
only
okay.
fun,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind doing like virtual competitions with you or like
Yeah.
having fun and just puzzling on the weekend for just a bit of extra practice. Cool. But yeah, when you get to the actual competitions and with worlds coming up, I have expectations and
Mhm.
it's different goals at different times
Yeah.
for it. I do want to move on to other stuff, but I do want to focus. I do want to talk about teams
Yes.
uh, for National 2025.
Yes,
I
let's
think,
talk about teams. That was exhilarating.
yeah, at the so on this channel, I'm going through like my puzzle story, and I've posted a few stuff already. I'm building up to the teams event, so I haven't posted
Okay.
it yet. So
Okay.
this will be released before I get to the teams event with it. So I haven't discussed it yet on
Okay.
here. What I think what's important with this teams event, and I think it's a unique thing where I watch stuff on I watch worlds events online. I watch the US nationals when they do their national stuff when they have post them on YouTube and a few other competitions as well. And I think that this was I could be wrong, but the most unique team finish that I've seen across any competition for the first, second, and third place teams. Everyone had a very different experience
Mhm.
with how we went through the emotions of of this final.
Yes.
So we'll start with first place, I guess. So the first place team we kind of briefly mentioned them. It's Liam, Tess, Danielle, and Lisbeth.
Amanda.
Amanda.
Amanda
Amanda.
Matthews. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Amanda.
Yeah.
Amanda Matthews. They finished in first in what I would say is the hardest team finals puzzle ever that's been at a competition. And I know
Yes.
there's some other ones that compete for it. U.S. Nationals this year final was also difficult, but I think this is. I've seen so many people online, people doing other interview stuff, things talking about have you seen the Canada team's final? And there's a video online. I have it, but someone else has posted it. What was your thoughts when you opened it? Before we get to finish first, your immediate thoughts when you see this puzzle.
Uh, the the collective groan that was heard in the room when everybody opened the bag. It is, uh, in my opinion, it is not an ideal puzzle for a speed run. It is not an ideal puzzle for a team speed run specifically, but it's a beautiful puzzle.
Yes, again to the
Yeah,
artist.
it's beautiful.
Where is it?
Like
Patrick.
it's so
Yeah,
intricate.
Patrick.
That's hard for me to say. Intricate.
Yeah.
There's so many really cool elements of the puzzle. Like it's a beautiful piece of art.
Yes.
And
Again, artists,
I
the great. All the puzzles were very lovely
oh,
designed. I want to
it's
make that
so
very,
cool. It was
very
so
clear.
cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, now
But boy, oh boy.
we knew.
What was your initial reaction?
So we knew um, who the final artist was
Yeah.
because all the names were released to us beforehand, and this was the only one left in the last event. So we knew it was going to be Patrick. We knew it was going to be a collage of some sort.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he practices Canada collage puzzle in advance, like everybody else did, and so
Mhm.
I'll look to see what his designs and stuff were like. Um, so we knew. I would. So you mentioned the groan in the room when it was also heard in the parking lot. I've been told people came in from outside because it was so loud. Uh,
Cute.
yeah, the
Oh,
video.
that's hilarious.
Have you seen the video?
I haven't. I've heard of this video, but I haven't
Yeah,
seen it.
it is loud. The groan from it. I heard the groan, but my job on the team, it has nothing to do with anything to do with the box. So I'm not putting the lid off. I'm not put it on the stand. I am focused on getting rid of the bag and making sure the pieces are all out and people can start sorting them. I normally do not look at the image for a few minutes or a minute or two because I'm just
Mhm.
focused on the pieces, flipping them
Yeah.
all over. So I was about a minute delayed,
Oh,
knowing what the image was. And I glanced up, and it was and there was a few choice words
yeah, yeah.
that came out. And
God.
in the finals, my team was at table one.
Yeah.
So we were right beside um, a very large audience because it's the final event. Um, all the representatives from Ravensburg are in there. Everyone's around these tables because again, everyone's assuming table one, two, which is your table, or table three. One of these teams will likely take first place. So there's a lot of focus on these tables. But yeah,
Mhm.
I I didn't know what to do. Um, like my job on every team that I practice with is I do all the very random things. So I don't do the edge. That was somebody else. The big obvious things that stand out. So on this puzzle, it would have been the face, the dogs in the puzzle. That's going to Riley, who's on my team, because they can get done all those things very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So great. And then it's me and Allison that are left over. And we're quite good at doing the small random things and then kind of piecing those together. Allison's great at sorting all the stuff and handing out pieces to everybody and
Yeah.
assigning us all jobs, whether you want to or not. She's like, okay, you're doing the pink flowers now. Okay, I'm doing the pink flowers now. And she'll just hand all the pink flowers to you. Great.
Awesome. Yeah.
So we had all our roles, but I agreed. If this was a puzzle where I struggled heavily at
Mm.
the start. It took me a little bit to get into it because I just couldn't focus on anything. It was until we had the edge done, which was difficult in its own. Um, it's like I don't know where to put stuff.
Mhm.
And then when we did get into it, I still don't know where to put stuff because it's all over the place. I had
It's
to
so
actually,
true.
it was, I had to stop and probably for about for 10 seconds or so, I just took like a few deep breaths and had to reset my mind and how I was approaching this. And everything came together after that, but it was a daunting puzzle, and I am terrified they're going to pull this and it shows up at Worlds um, as a qualification puzzle. Um, I'm not going to choose it with my team. Um, I would recommend anybody else give it a go.
Yeah,
Try it.
everybody
You
else.
definitely want to try it. Yeah,
Everybody
if
else
you're
try it. Yeah.
if you're not from Canada, we've done it.
Yeah.
You want to do it once, definitely try it. Just once. And but um, puzzles are getting harder, and I
Yeah.
think that was the watching the U.S. Nationals, looking at our individual final and our team final. Um, some of the puzzle choices from Worlds last year, like the Tiger and the Oasis, and a few of their puzzles are getting harder in the
Mhm.
finals, much harder. And those puzzles tend to move down into semifinals and qualifiers after a few years. So it's yeah. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, first place team was I forget what their name was, but it's Tess, Liam, Amanda, and Danielle. Two of which is Amanda going to Worlds?
I don't think so. Tess
Okay,
and
yeah,
Danielle are. Yeah.
Danielle. Liam's not.
Right.
But they, yeah, so they practiced together for the first time the day before
Mhm.
because they are also split. A couple West Coast and a couple not West Coast um, people, and they win. I don't know how. Well, I do know how. But congratulations to them. My team finishes in second place and right beside you. And we've seen the videos,
Yep.
and
Videos are hard to watch, Adam.
videos are
They're
hard to
hard to
watch.
watch.
So at one point, um, what happened was a lot of the pieces were getting further away from myself and Allison, we always sit across from each other because we are doing all the small stuff and working together on that
Yeah.
and placing it in. But it was getting too far away. So either myself or Allison asked, can we move all the stuff closer to us? And we moved all the pieces down, pulled the box holder up and everything else. And I saw a few little pieces. I like just make sure those pieces come up as well. And as we are getting to the end, there was one piece, one spot on it was like the top, just above her hair in the picture,
Oh.
and it was a little bit of pink on it. I'm like, I know what this piece should look like, and there's no pink pieces. Are we missing a piece? And we're looking on the ground, looking at the person. So Amanda on our team was the one that usually drops a piece. Checked Amanda's side around there. We're looking. There has to be a piece, and we're wasting valuable seconds on that missing piece. And I thought someone put it in. We put that final piece in. We celebrate literally a second after the others celebrate. I knew that we weren't the first ones done unless I had seen it wrong. I knew it was 1 second. I was more annoyed that it was that one piece that probably cost us 5 to 10 seconds
Yeah.
collectively. Um, but we've seen the video. That piece was right behind the box after we had pulled it up. And a lot of people had taken videos of it, taken pictures of it, and the crowds could see it. But they can't tell us. And I'm very thankful they didn't. I didn't want having that interference from somebody
Yeah.
else would have made some because that's our mistake. That's our team mistake. We should have known that. But yeah, our official time was 11 seconds behind, but it was the 10-second penalty but it was 1 second. And we went into the competition, and I said to my team, I was like, I predict that the two winners will be within less than 30 seconds of each other. I think it's going to be highly competitive. And they're like, no, it's usually like a minute or two. The year you guys won was 12 minutes
Yeah.
between the two spots. I was
Yeah.
like, No, I think it's going to be super, super close, and was closer than 1 second with it.
Just
But
wild. Yeah.
it's I don't know how long it'll be till I do. I will eventually do the puzzle again, but I don't know how long it will be because it's just going to be flashbacks the
Yeah.
whole time of one
Yeah.
one piece. What's more frustrating, not frustrating, but funny, is that our team was called Moosing Pieces, and it was a single moosing piece that cost us the whole thing. So if we're a team again next year, the four of us, we'll stick with the same name, but make sure no is in the title of
Oh, I
the
like it.
puzzle. So no
Yeah.
moosing pieces, because I think we wrote our own ending. It wasn't great, but you won teams the year before.
Yeah.
Within a second, first and second place are done, and they're on either side of your team. So you would have heard, yay,
Mhm.
yay, like
I know.
instantly. What goes through your team's mind at that point where it's oh oh
That so something I learned is I need to take peeks at other tables around me,
yeah, I
while
definitely looked at
we're
your table.
puzzling, 'cause I didn't. I didn't. So I when we heard you guys and then Danielle and Teslium and Amanda's team finish, we're like, oh boy, okay, high gear. So it flipped us into a higher gear than I think we knew we had. Because we're like, this is hard. They're done. We're close, but we have no idea where any other teams are.
Yep.
So it forced us into this strategy that I'd never used before. It's kind of cool. So um, Sophie and Jacinta are on one side, Katie and I are on the other side across from each other. Sophie and I are next to each other. And the four of us were like, okay, we need to shape sort. So we shape sorted. Guess what? Didn't really help because there are so many pieces still. When you shape sort and there's little holes all over the place, awesome. But we had just empty chunks around the puzzle. So um, what we tried was Jacinth and Sophie on their side were working essentially piece by piece through their holes on their side. And Katie and I on our side did the same. So we had our trays filled with pieces, and Katie would say, okay, we need a two on a corner that has a tiny bit of pink, go. And then she and I, like, she would point to it. And then she and I would look at that and then find it and put it in. Okay, on to the next one. So it was like two brains looking for on the hunt just for piece by piece by piece by piece by piece on this thing. And if we had started doing that earlier, we might have had a smaller gap, but it worked to get us third place at that point. And it gave us like something new to try in other team experiences or pairs experiences because I'd never done that before. It's very much like, here's your little section, here's what you need to do, go do it. But for a puzzle that's that busy, actually splitting it up into like two pairs that had hyper focus on their sections of the puzzle, it worked for us at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how yeah, you just have to sometimes you have to come up with a strategy on the spot that you've
That's it.
never practiced. So like as I said, we had 30 puzzles practiced or so before that, and yeah, there's different things that we tried on that day as well, where it was
Yep.
just because the puzzle was so unique that there was no way to prepare for something like that. It's just like,
Yeah.
or there
Yeah.
there might be a way to practice it, but you would never go to a store and buy that puzzle thinking, oh, that'll be in a competition.
Yeah. I'm
Like
going to speed run this. Yep.
easy. The fact that the times were still like 108:50 something,
Mm.
109, and then I think you guys like 112 or around there. There's a
Yeah.
bit of
Right
a
in around
slight
there.
drop off
Yep.
after.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was yeah. Yeah, it was interesting for sure. And then very quickly, I just want to Canadian Nationals 2026. Um, it's not really the focus for a lot of people yet, but we've had some interesting announcements
Yes.
with it. It's still in Georgetown, which I think those of us from Ontario are thrilled about. Uh, because I don't know if I have the dedication that the people from the West Coast or even Quebec have to travel um,
Mm.
all the way here, but it's still there. But we have a new venue in a hockey arena because,
Yeah.
of course, it is.
That's super
Uh,
Canadian, eh? Like,
yeah.
I love it.
Um, we have lots of different arenas and stuff like that all over the place, but yeah, we'll pick the hockey
Yep.
arena. I am disappointed that it's not that the ice will be gone. Um, it
Could
makes
you
sense. I thought
imagine?
it would have been great for the spotters. How quickly would they get around? Yeah, just skating up and down the rows, easy. But no, obviously they'll be there. But what it does mean, I think, the numbers are going to skyrocket
Mm.
in terms of participants. Um, overall, what are your do you have any thoughts on this new venue and how it might impact us?
I love that there's going to be more space. I love that. It could mean things, and this is just me making stuff up. It could mean things like everybody gets their own table in a final because there's more room, right? It could mean there's room to have a live stream and a commentary booth because that takes up a ton of space.
Yeah.
It really does. I was lucky enough to be on a live stream when I went down to the USA Nationals.
Okay.
So I got to see how much space that was and at Worlds. It's a ton of space. So
It
if
is.
the new place has more space, maybe that could be a cool next thing that that they do. Um, More people, like yes, yes. I hope more people
Yeah.
can attend. I hope the
Yeah.
pools get bigger. I hope the competition gets harder. I hope we get more and more and more rounds. Now, maybe I don't hope that it turns into a week-long extravaganza like Worlds because that's a lot. That's a lot to commit to.
Yeah.
But
It is only they have confirmed it's only 2 days still,
mm,
with the Friday social stuff that they do.
cool. That was
Uh,
cool. I really liked that this year.
that still sticks around.
Yeah.
We won't get into that today, but it was yeah. Having I think that's again. I don't know what the other countries and stuff do in that sense, but
Mhm.
I feel that's like a very I don't know, Canadian thing as well. Like, let's all get together and have some fun the night before, and
Yeah.
we'll have competitions, but they don't really mean anything, and it's just more of a time to like sit and chat with each other. And
Yeah.
we're going to be competing against each other tomorrow, but for today, it's we'll just have a bit of fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we were up to 222 individual participants this year,
That's
and in
great.
only two qualifying rounds, and it was squeezed in to that. So
Mhm.
I don't know if I think the U.S. Nationals had close to 600 people. I don't know. We're not getting to that at this point. Canadian travel is harder than U.S. travel, and
Yeah.
getting around is a bit more difficult. We don't have the population either, but I think we get close. I think we get closer to 400 a lot sooner um, than I thought. Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
but
I think the big challenge to your point, Adam, is there's Georgetown's been a great incubator, let's say, for these types of events and this type of community. I love that we've got a bigger venue. I wonder to grow past that 300, 400, wherever that trajectory might take us,
yeah,
if it has to if it has to switch to something that has more hotel options or has more stuff to do around it. Like if we think about Worlds, there's I don't know, 9 individual qualification rounds this year. So you could be puzzling for an hour that entire day because you're only in one qualification round. But Valladolid has a bunch of stuff to do,
yeah,
right? There's stuff to see, there's tours to go on, there's the park to walk, there's great food. There's watching the live stream at the hotel room while you're practicing with your teams, which is absolutely something that happens a lot. So having the other stuff that surround a competition like this, especially as the numbers continue to grow, I think could be quite helpful. Right. There is an art though, and there's skill to growing events in a sustainable way. And I think a really cool step that they're taking is shifting the venue. Like that's a really great next step.
yeah. I agree. It needs to happen for sure.
Yeah.
And because there's our events sell out so fast,
Oh
and
my God.
I try to explain this to people where it's like I have multiple alarms set up for when everything. I think it was like February 1st. Everything went live, and I had multiple phones ready and an alarm clock ready because I need to sign up. And when we
Yeah.
tell people, oh, the event sold out in minutes, um, like a national event, and like, nah, it's just people puzzling. It's like, yes, they're very serious about it. And if you don't get it, that's it, done. You can go on a wait list, but it goes by quick. So, and you see a lot of people on the Canadian Facebook page and such going, "Oh, I missed it," and
Mm.
or I'd like to go, but there just wasn't time and to sign up. So I think there's going to be a big bump in numbers this year. Um, it could level off at some point, but it's it'll be interesting
Yeah.
next year for sure, and it's going to be new for everybody. But before we move on, I know talking about Canadian Nationals took a lot longer than I thought it was going to,
There's
but
lots to talk
um,
about.
it's,
Yeah.
it's unique because we both competed
Yeah.
in all these events, so we and we all have different perspectives from it. But um, I'm going to look from you for way too early Canadian Nationals 2026 prediction winner. Just individual,
Yeah.
because teams and pairs we don't know how those are all gonna
Mhm.
go together. Your team and pair switch all the time. Who knows? And do you so as I give you time to think about it, because there's going to be an increase in numbers.
Mhm.
Will there be the similar people we see at the top of the podium, or will there be potentially new people? We saw Riley in second place this year. They didn't compete last year. Shelby was, I think, fourth as well. Another newcomer
Wow.
this year. They both competed in 2023, but they weren't here last year. So yeah. You can throw out a few names, including yourself.
Mhm.
Who you think might win
Yeah.
Nationals 2026?
One of the one of the cool things to this sport activity, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
pastime, is the barriers to entry are quite low,
Yes.
right? Go spend 20 bucks on a 500 piece puzzle, do it 100 times, you're ready, right? Like it could be that, or just show up of the day, right? And compete. So we are always, the first words that come to mind are wrong, but I'll say them anyway because they're funny. We're always at risk of new fast people.
No, that's right.
We are. And risk
Absolutely.
is the
Yeah.
wrong word, but
No,
the
you're at risk of
right?
having to dropping in spots.
Yeah.
I
We're
mean,
always and that
you're the
makes
case
it
study. You,
exactly. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
like,
Thank you. Yes, yes, that's it.
I've
Thank
only
you.
gone up every year, so I don't really. So the more people that
I'm
I speak
slowly,
to,
slowly going down. Um, but that's funny. But it's true, right? We're always open, I'll say, for people to just show up and take the top spot, like Alice Rowe did in the US. Phenomenal. Or the first time Kathy from uh she from Germany, Kathy from Germany, competed at Worlds. Did fantastic.
yeah.
Right. So there
I love that video, by the way, of watching her of watching the winners from Worlds last year. Just the look of pure elation and
Mhm.
because you know what, it was time for a new world champion. Alejandro, fantastic puzzler, but when that newcomer shows up and
Mhm.
makes it, it's a
That's
statement
it.
move, and
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
So to the prediction.
Okay.
If it's not me, right? You gotta have some confidence, right? If it's not me, um, Megan's always gonna be in the top, but I do think that Katie's gonna take it next year. I do. So, and I'll be rooting for her and I'll
Yeah.
be clawing my way up there to keep up with her. And yeah, I'm really excited for it, Adam. I think there's a lot of like every year the community grows bigger, but those of us who have kind of been kicking around for a few years, we grow closer.
Mhm.
Right. So now there's this nucleus of Canadian puzzlers that like this is the way we know each other, you and I, right?
Yeah.
Because we're part of this community and this community welcomes people and cheers people on. And it's pretty cool to see our friends succeed. So I'm
Yeah.
rooting for Katie. I'll always cheer on Megan. Riley is just so fast. So there's some top contenders here. So if it's not me, I hope it's her, Katie. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like all. as we get closer, I'll probably do another prediction countdown thing. I'll probably have to extend to top 10 at this point because it's just going to be so
Oh,
much bigger.
God. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, the top three from this year, Megan, Katie, Riley. I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know if there's someone that's you're always up there, but those three specifically, so good. And it
Mhm.
will come down to whatever the final puzzle is.
Mhm.
I think having that pink puzzle, there was a degree of skill that was removed. It comes down to a bit of luck uh,
Mhm.
in when it's that type of puzzle because you're just shape sorting and just hoping this random pink goes together. Like you're not looking as closely at the
Yeah.
design. It's I hope this piece goes in. Oh, nope, doesn't. Okay, next one. And so there's a different skill involved.
Mhm.
I think the final results change if that's not the final puzzle, but it is. We get what we get.
But,
With it, you have to be prepared for everything.
mhm.
So yeah, I think we'll see. We'll see how
That,
that
yeah.
goes.
Well,
Um, very quickly. World is coming up. Like I said, just over 10 weeks away. Um, I'm getting very nervous as it gets closer with it. Like I said, it's my first Worlds that I'm attending as of this recording. There's 51 Canadians registered to go, which I think is the highest number so far from us. I think we're the fourth or fifth most represented country so far. That will change as it gets closer and more Europeans sign up with the last few spots. Um, but of the 51, 40 are making their debut at this Worlds, which is a huge number.
how
80%,
cool is that, huh? Oh my
80% of
gosh.
us
Yes.
making the debut. There's group chats, there's virtual calls going on with people, and everyone doing their own preparation. What are you most excited for other than the community aspect? We'll talk about that in a bit.
Oh,
But other than the community
that's good.
aspect, what are you the most excited for this Worlds? Because it's your third one now. You're the veteran.
Mhm. Mhm. What am I most excited for? Okay, this is uh, it's crossing over to community, but it's not just the community aspect. Okay. So,
I know that's your. I knew that was going to be your answer, so I don't want to
how?
remove it from the.
But okay, so I am so excited to see how the new folks react when they walk into the dome for the first time. It is super cool. You walk up to this place, it's smaller than you expect from the outside. You get in, it feels bigger than it looks on the inside. All the tables are set up, things are ready to go. You sit down for the first time. I am excited to see everybody's reactions to this. Uh, it's it can be a little intense. It can, but it is also like such a cool, such a unique thing that we have in the global puzzling community. So that I'm super pumped for. But I'm also really I okay, we're gonna say it. We're gonna debut my goals here, Adam. I'm gonna debut it.
Okay,
I'm
that was going to be a follow up question
Here
anyway.
you go.
So
We're
here we go.
debuting. Um, I think we've got a great shot to podium in pairs and teams.
Pairs and teams.
Yep. I'm gonna be bold. I think we've got a
Wow.
great shot. Uh,
Podium
there's something
meaning
special
top
about
three.
our podium. So from a world's perspective, they do top 10.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to clarify. Okay,
Yes.
we're doing top
Yes.
10.
So
Okay.
I think we're doing top 10. I think we can do it. Looking at the landscape, the folks I know who are going, the folks I know who are not going. Um, I think we can do it. I think we can. I
You
feel
and
older and wiser and more experienced,
yeah.
and
You
that I'm
well.
bringing some different skills to the table this year. And the skill set complementarity with my pairs partner, with my team is, I think we've got a shot.
Are are you the most experienced Canadian?
Oh, may
Three times, I think. At the very least, I think you'd be tied. But I think
I
you
think
might be
I think
one.
there's one other gal who's been more. Um, I could
There's
be
only
wrong.
been four,
So
hasn't there?
there was there's
Four
been
or five.
four, yes, 2022, 23, 24,
And 19.
and 19 and 19. Yeah.
I think there
So,
was stuff
but
before
I'm at
that, but
least tied. Yeah, to your point, I'm at least tied for that. So
yeah.
the
So
yeah, so
that,
I think we can do it. I think we can do it.
so those are strong goals. So yeah,
Strong goals.
I'll
That's it. Go big. Notice I did
um
not say an individual goal.
okay. So since you bring it up,
Yeah.
first year 75th,
Yep.
last year 78th.
Yep.
We need to stop doing this decreasing number
Yeah.
aspect.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
goals obviously to make the finals.
Yep.
That's going to be there.
Mhm.
What top 50, top 10, top 25,
Ooh. Oh, I'm not that bold. The
first?
yeah, yes, I'm going for first. Watch
Yeah.
out, Kristen. I'm
If
just
I
kidding.
if I randomly somehow ended up in first, I'm never doing a puzzle again. I'm
Yeah, just
retiring
stop.
on this. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
nowhere to go. Like that's no. I am. I will be a full-time commentator from then on out. That would. I'm out. That,
That's it. That's it. That's your swan song.
yep.
It was so super cool to be 75th. There was double the amount of participants the following year to hit a 78th. I was like super happy with.
Yeah. Lower
There's
number but
even
better result.
that's it.
Yeah.
They there's even more going this year.
Yeah.
So if I can sure it'd be great to improve my standing, but if I can make it to the finals number 1 and make it in the top 100, I would be happy. I would be happy with that because part of goal setting is, yeah, set a stretch goal, but also be realistic. So you're not always disappointed and you're never achieving your goals. So I think it's quite realistic to podium for teams and pairs. And I'll go for top 100 in individuals. And that would be super cool. But the community aspect, which I'm not allowed to comment on yet, is also a big part of it.
It is. And yeah, it's that will be a big thing.
Yeah.
With it, my goals are not as lofty as yours because I don't know what to expect as much. I very much want to make at least the semifinals for the individual. I think
Okay.
I can make the finals. It's going to depend on what puzzles show up,
Yeah.
but the competition level is so high. It's how you do on the day of, and we'll see. I'm trying to get more mentally prepared for it. I don't want to go all the way there and be out in the first round of the individuals. I will be very disappointed, but you never know who's going to be sorted into your rounds and
Mhm.
what the puzzle might be. Pairs, my partner is Tess, and you actually are the one that paired us together or recommended that we pair together. So thank you for that. I'm very excited.
Good.
What I'm most nervous about here is letting my partner down. Because my other partners that I've done either practice with, other than Ryan this past weekend,
Mhm.
um, that I've practiced with in the past, in the national competitions, they've finished in lower spots in the finals than I have. They usually beat me in the qualifications. I'm not a morning puzzler, so that will make a difference as well. If I get the first slot in Worlds, like the
Yeah.
very, I don't know what I'll do. Um, but yeah, so I've practicing with some or competing with someone who's Tess, who I know is consistently and always has been faster than me
Mhm.
in any competition that we've been in together. I'm scared of letting like a partner down because
Mm.
she will have certain expectations as well. The finals is still, I think, our goal together, and I think it's realistic
Absolutely.
um, to do it. But again, depends on the puzzle. Depends on if it's a puzzle that we both can't do. Who knows? We'll see. And then for teams, again, there's no semifinals for teams, so that's a finals or bust situation. I have booked my hotel and flights to be there on the last day. So
Good.
I
Good.
want to make sure that was worth it. Yeah, we'll see. I'm as it gets closer, I will get more and more nervous, for
Mm.
sure. I don't think the arena aspect is going to bother me too much. I've been in those types of situations before, but it's the letting down the other teams. Like when you say partners and teams, you find a lot more enjoyable. That's the part that stresses me out with teams and partners. It's the
Mhm.
yeah, you're not relying on just yourself, but other people are relying on you.
It's the
So
other side of the coin,
it's very
right?
much the other side of
It
that coin.
really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to pretend I have perfect advice for that. But Adam, what was remind me, where did you finish in individuals this year?
7.
Oh,
7.
okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
What I laugh at is, if it is, yes, it was an improvement. I've gone up each year.
Mhm.
I think what helped was when I did my predictions of the top 6. I'm one. If I had only done top 3, maybe I finished 4th because I finished one outside of the prediction. Maybe that was. But so maybe I won't do 10 next year. I'll stick with 6. The prediction of people that were some people did reach out to me, especially from that group of 6 that were like, well, I think you'll do quite well as well. But like I said, I didn't go into this year's nationals with any confidence based on the results from the year before, with
Mhm.
the qualifying round the year before, where
Yeah.
it just all became a disaster for me. So I didn't go in with that feeling of confidence. And I don't want to do that either, because I think the lack of it helps me.
Okay.
It's like, well, I'll prove myself wrong, even though I've like, I could easily just tell myself I'll do well, but I'll just tell myself I'll do bad so I can prove myself wrong. It's like a internal fight.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, 7th. I was thrilled with 7th. I couldn't believe it. I think the pink did come down to a bit of luck. And I think it was I don't know how long, 30 seconds, a minute maybe after me was 8th place. So I had a little bit of a cushion. Um, that was 2 minutes behind the person in front of me, I think, which was Tess. So we finished 6 and 7, and now we're paired to go to uh,
So,
the Worlds.
right?
So good prediction on your part of, oh yeah, similar speed. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't think I'll be similar to you where I'm going to Worlds every year. This might be a one and that's it. It all comes down to like work and timing and
Totally.
everything else that
Yeah.
goes along with it. So I want to get the most out of this if that's it.
And who
And
knows?
also,
Maybe they
yeah,
moved the location too, right? It's been invited for years
yeah. I
now.
heard I heard rumors that the U.S. was being considered as the main spot.
Mm.
I don't foresee that in the near future,
Mm. Maybe
for
one
various
day. Yeah.
reasons. But
Yeah.
um, I think where it's hosted now, they're very proud of it,
Yeah.
and like that's there's lots of stuff that goes on in that town. It's a 300,000 person town or so, but it's a big global event, and
Mhm.
it brings a lot of people in. I don't think they're going to give me up willingly,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Hey,
Um,
maybe one day Canada could host.
yeah,
Wouldn't
yeah,
that be cool?
yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever wins should get to host it. So that would give more pressure on on that.
Yeah.
Um, very quickly, because this is so we've gone through a lot of stuff and it's
Listen,
taken.
we can
We're
talk
going
puzzles
through
for hours and hours and hours and hours and
yeah.
hours. So it
I might
just
have
so
to split it.
happens.
Yeah, I might split this into
Yeah.
a two-part thing.
Good.
The world record attempt. I do
Yes.
want to talk about briefly.
That's
So
so fun. That was so fun.
yeah, the 2,000 piece puzzle.
Yep.
10 people
Yep.
at once, and it's the same puzzle every year. So you kind of know what it's going to be. Obviously, you can practice it, do what you need to do. The US one with an unbelievable 40 something minutes. I've listened to a few of them speak about it, and they practiced
Mhm.
heavily to get ready for it. The Canadians, not as much, not as much practice as the US people did. Getting your hands on the puzzle is hard enough to begin with, but how was that? You finished third,
We
which I was
did.
watching it. I was at the gym watching it, and just had carrying my phone around doing things, but checking in to see how it was going. The announcers were hilarious, going, "Okay, Canada's Canada's doing quite well," because
Mhm.
it wasn't in the early
It was
predictions,
unexpected, wasn't it?
and
Yeah.
coming in at third.
Mm.
How do you puzzle with 10 people?
That Not easily
I
is,
bet.
I think, answer number one. Answer number two is we tried to get to know each other. But some of us knew each other before, but some of us were strangers to each other. So we had virtual strategy calls, we had roles, we had like a team captain of sorting, which was Caitlin, because she was the super sorter. And then we had people who had designated areas of the puzzle that they were going to do. Like Danielle and Allison had the top part, and they did practice the top part in the dark area, like the space area. And
Yeah.
they practiced and practiced and practiced. I was the edge lady, so I practiced the edge. I got it down to like just over 12 minutes to do the edge because I practiced the edge over and over and over and over. But as a team, many of us were meeting for the first time that day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because the day before the actual competition starts,
That's
that's
it.
the opening
Yeah.
ceremony day. Yeah.
Yeah. Danielle came right off the train with her luggage in tow right to the dome to get there on time, which was pretty cool. So we tried to create a shared language of what we were calling each of these big pieces or big sections.
Yeah.
We tried to make sure everybody kind of knew what their first, second, and third jobs were going to be as we go through it. And then we had like a shot collar almost. So like, what's up next? Okay, Caitlin's going to talk about the sorting, do that kind of stuff. When we get to the end, who's going to call shape sorting? When are we going to call shape sorting? What happens at the very end when you've got it's a big puzzle, right? It's a 2,000 piece puzzle, so it takes up a significant amount of area. So how do you then, with your last 100 pieces, work together to be fast? So some people had the designated board with one particular shape on it, and then
Yep.
we would pass that around. Others were collars, so you could have your fingers on the holes and say, "I need two twos on a corner here and here,"
Yeah.
and then someone would come with the two on a corner tray and then do their job there. So it's very much like sub team work at that point. But we punched above our weight with that result based on, I see a little bit of skepticism in your eyes, but I do think based on uh, the experience level of the team,
Yeah.
we crushed it when it comes to that. We did beat the record from the year before, but we didn't set the record last
Yeah.
year. But if it is that same puzzle, that could be an
It,
interesting experience for this year too. We don't know much yet about what's going on there, but yeah, like there,
yeah.
because there's other fast countries, right? Germany beat us by a little bit, but
Yeah.
the Spanish team is fast, the Australian team is wicked fast, the Italians are like there's a lot of really fast countries, and I think we just popped up there. And oh, at the end, it was so funny, Adam. At the end, we did this weird rotating thing where you can only do so much in your one little section with 10 people puzzling. So we would yell switch, and each of us would move one step over to look at that little second and switch. And then we but it worked. It worked in the end.
That's good. I'm pretty sure it's the same puzzle because I think that's just kind of what they do
Yeah.
with it. Um, yeah, you did beat the time from the year before, so
Yeah.
technically you were two spots, you're the third fastest time ever for that in the world ranking standings. Canada would be third
Yeah.
with that. Um, any because there's a lot more people going this year.
Mhm.
Some people that aren't returning as well. I know you're kind of involved with the process a little bit. I think you were last year with the
It
team.
was last year. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool. So we just, um, corralling people can be hard, especially that many people. So Russ had asked if I would kind of take point on so Russ reached out to folks who had competed in CJPA competitions in the past and gauged interest and said, if you're interested, let Devon know. No problem. Then we did the t-shirts and all the things. And that was great. We, hosted the strat calls and got people together. Da, da, da. So I love doing that kind of stuff. So this year it's still a little bit of a mystery. I wonder if the CJPA, because they're in charge of team selection and all that kind of stuff. So I wonder if they're going to do something a little bit more similar to what the US did, which was essentially if people try out for the team. So
Oh,
that'd be interesting. I think everybody's just excited to have a shot at it. So
yeah.
however they're going to choose to do that, I think we're all waiting patiently,
Yeah,
eager
it
to
is.
understand how to get on the team. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's only 10 weeks away. Like it's
that's
creeping up.
it.
But yeah, uh, great. Completely switching gears,
Okay.
more focused on you and focusing on that T-shirt that you are wearing, the Canadian Speed Puzzlers, which I
Yes.
also have right here on my
Yes.
on there. Um, you did. You spoke with Rob on Peace Talks back in May, I believe,
Yeah, it was
was it?
right
And it
after
was
nationals. Yeah.
right after Canadian Nationals, and then the episode was released in June as well. It's a great listen. If definitely go and listen to that after you're done this.
That's right.
Yeah, finish this first. Um, but you were on there. You talk about how you were starting this organization, or we'll get into it in a second. You were starting it. We are now further along. First of all, what is Canadian Speed Puzzlers?
Canadian Speed Puzzlers, CSP for short. It started as a simple website for my mom. This is
Okay.
a true story. So my parents, they wanted to watch all of the live streams from Worlds in 2024, so this previous Worlds. Um, and they wanted to make sure they were logging on the right time or know how to go back later and look for them. And so I sent them the link to the YouTube channel for the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships, and all the live links were there, la la la. But kind of triangulating that with the time change, like time zones and this and that, it was becoming a little complicated. So I said, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if we had a place that folks could go to, like my mom, and see a calendar, just a calendar view that you click a link and boom, there's the link to the live stream. So you know what to watch when, and it's easy to access. Um, so that was the calendar view on that original CanadianSpeedPuzzlers.ca website. So that was the main purpose of that. But then I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had the Canadians going to Worlds write up a little profile on who they are, right? Because right now
Hmm.
there's not really like a one source of information on speed puzzling. Thank goodness myspeedpuzzling.com exists now. But
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
there really wasn't, right? On who you're seeing on the live stream, or what their origin story is, or what their key stats are, a little bit about them, that kind of stuff. So that just didn't really exist. So that was like part two of that website. And so that just kind of hung out for a little while, went to Worlds, we did some posts, that kind of stuff. And then after Worlds and prep for nationals, those of us who became fast friends in the puzzling community after Worlds were like, can we just still hang out virtually and talk about puzzles? So we did that. And we did. We just had like Wednesday night Zoom calls and just chatted about puzzles and joked about creating podcasts and thought about creating in-person events that were like not official sanctioned, like world events or nationals events, but just fun because we wanted more. We love this stuff. So kind of took a beat, thought about what potential we saw in Canada for speed puzzling. And there's, like I said earlier, there's not very many barriers to entry into this activity. There really isn't. But
Yep.
sometimes it can be a little daunting because there's some really, really fast people out there. Like there's some really fast people. And for people, maybe new folks who are interested in dipping their toe into something, maybe it's a little daunting. Maybe it's why bother? Because I don't know if I can get to that level or that tier of competitive puzzlers. And we thought, like, just try it. Right. So, is there a way that we can? This was the question we were asking ourselves. Is there a way that we can contribute to building the Canadian speed puzzling community in a way that removes a little bit of that daunting feeling, perhaps? Or is there an additional way to looking at the other side of the coin, from the new puzzlers or those who are interested to those who are pretty fast but want to get to that next tier? whatever that is for them, right? So can we support both? And I think the answer is yes. So that's where the Canadian Speed Puzzlers, the Build Your Edge Bootcamp stuff came from that intention to say, let's get more people involved. We love this so much. We talk about it all the time anyway. Let's just bring some people together and talk about it right?
Yeah.
And have like a safe and sound competition for them to participate in if they've never done it before. And then for the those who are a little bit more advanced in their puzzling or more experienced, no matter what your speed, just more experienced, what are the things that we've thought about and we've practiced and we found actually contributed to our growth and development? And how can we share that in a way that's super easy for people to understand and apply right away? So those were the two tracks for the boot camp. We had the piece by piece for the newbies, and then we had the fast track for the more experienced folks.
Which I like how it's sorted like that. Because as you said, it can be daunting
Yeah.
entering the speed puzzle arena, and if you had just one full group, you're going to get the people that are already fast, and if for the new ones, they're going to be comparing out of the gate, and it's still going to be
Mhm.
that same dauntingness. But going in with others that are relatively new or brand new or whatever, you can kind of work together and make that progress. And the strong, not the stronger ones, but the more experienced ones and
Mhm.
the faster ones that have been doing it for longer, yeah, they have their own um, different ways of going. So yeah, so you introduced this on the Peace Talks program back in May.
Yep.
The first cohorts are now done.
They are concluded. Yeah.
How did it go?
It was so much fun. And from the feedback we received, our boot campers had a great time too and learned a bunch of stuff. We debuted in Canada this new way of thinking about performance puzzling called Puzzle Poulet. Have you heard of Puzzle Poulet? Yes, good.
Yeah.
So Puzzle Poulet was a pretty cool thing. We didn't create the idea. It's called Puzzle Chicken. Some folks in the UK created it,
Yeah.
but we Canadianized it, called it Puzzle Poulet because it's a bilingual country, and made it a little bit nicer. So there's less trash talking in our Puzzle Poulet. Although I'd love to try the UK version. But something we learned, I think, as we're reflecting on the feedback we got from the two tracks, we had three cohorts for the two tracks. We had two newbies, and one advanced, just for lack of a better word. I think we need a middle ground. I think there's this missing piece in the middle between the folks who are brand new, dip your toe in, and the folks who are right, okay, I'm ready to do 30 minutes of drills a day, and I'm ready to commit to this 5-week program. We think there's something more in the middle ground for folks who are in that experience level where they're not wicked fast yet, and they're not brand new. So that's something
So,
that we're really considering, because you don't want to um, have too many foundational elements to something like any kind of training program, right? If you think
yeah.
of skill building, if you focus too much on foundations for folks who already know foundations, the value is going to be minimal. Like the actual improvement they see might not be there. So focusing too far though in skill development, you might create some um, confidence smashing moments that we don't want to do, because we want people to see this as a continuum of skill building, because that's what it is. This is a skill that you can build. One of the phrases I love to use is practice makes progress, because it's true,
Yeah.
right? And you can break down speed puzzling or performance puzzling more broadly into skill families. You can break down the experience of start to finish in a speed run into like very distinct components. You can create a language around this structure that people can start to use. You can give people mental models, like a shape sorting map, for instance, is one of the things we talked about in the program, where it's something you can do in a repeatable way that you don't even have to think about once you practice a lot. So we see so much potential in this, and had a blast facilitating it too. It's one of the coolest things we've ever done. So our hope is to do the next rounds right after Worlds as well, to keep that momentum going. Because after these big events, People
Yeah.
have so much energy around speed puzzling. So let's harness that, right? Let's focus that energy in a way that helps people improve where they want to improve.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm the opposite when it comes to me. So after nationals this year, I was very much I'm out
Yeah.
for
Pause. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and yeah, it was super neat to see this type of thing roll out and be accessible to like different ability levels, but again, all across Canada as well. Because yeah, it's not easy for us to meet up. Like we'll see a
Mhm.
bunch of people at nationals, we'll see a bunch of people at worlds, and then but if they don't live within the same province or at least relatively close to like the border between two provinces, um, you're not going to see them again. So this keeps that connection going as well on top
Yeah.
of learning some stuff. Um,
We had people from all the way Vancouver to Newfoundland
yeah,
join. It was really cool to see. We need also to do a couple of tweaks on the timing of the offerings, because as you know, like a 5 p.m. Vancouver time is quite late in the evening for Newfoundland. So we're trying to find the right mix of timing and offerings and the right max number of folks in each cohort. I think another thing we learned that keeping the cohorts small is actually
yeah,
quite helpful. So we had what 16 folks participate in the fast track, and after going through that experience with that number of people, I think that would be the limit. Like that would be the cap, right?
yeah.
And then we
If
had
you're
smaller
doing
groups.
virtual,
Yeah,
if it's virtual stuff, it's you can only see so many screens
yeah,
and such going on. You just want to be staring at um, blank faces or whatever that might be. But
yeah.
yeah, I did reach out to a few people that did take your course, and I was like, "How was it?"
Yeah.
So these are some comments that were submitted to me from other people. Things like it was invaluable to get into the mindset of top speed puzzlers like yourself. So this is from one of the newer individuals
Yeah.
um, because yeah, we there's the puzzle community, but within the puzzle community, people that are, tend to be faster and competing at certain levels tend to kind of stay with their own group a little bit more, not all the time, but like if you think about nationals, there's a bunch of people that will finish quite quickly and then go out and hang out somewhere outside while everything else is
Hmm.
finishing off. So you're building
Yeah.
that connection there.
Yeah, that's
And you
fair.
might not
Yeah.
get and if you're new, you might not get the chance to speak to someone who's finishing in fifth place or first place or whatever that might be. So I think that's something that they really liked. A lot of people mentioned the confidence level they have now is much higher, especially for those going to Worlds soon. High level of it. Um, all the members of the program were very welcoming, especially Devon. A lot of new techniques that people learned. Puzzle Poulet was mentioned a few times.
That's
The
great.
wheel of doom
Yeah.
changed how people are training and practicing as they go forward. All the different activities, and I'm not going to go through what each of the different activities are. I think people should sign up and try them out. I don't want to give everything away that you guys are
Yeah.
that you're all doing in it. But yeah, adding from some of the faster people that joined it, helping to sharpen their existing tools. So it really seems like there's something for everybody with this type of program. And I was going to say, what would you change going forward? But I think you mentioned a few of those already. And yeah, I think it's what did you enjoy the most from it?
Well, first of all, to the folks watching, I did not know that Adam reached out to people who participated, and I'm having a hard time keeping my stuff together because I had it is it's an honor that people chose to spend their evenings and their weekends with us to learn more about stuff that we love so much. We love it. We love performance puzzling so much. And we've learned a lot and we want to share that with folks. And for people to have spent that time with us is that was my favorite part. People joined and people asked questions and people were engaged and people tried really hard in the competitions. And we got to see folks process frustration and the feedback. So we had for some of the activities, like the assignments week to week, we had feedback forms where they would fill out the results and their reflections. The reflections were brilliant. I tried it this way. I didn't love the way that happened, and I tried this one tip that you guys said, and this is what happened. Or I used the wheel of doom. Um, I know. And I got the hardest one on the wheel of doom, but I did it anyway and I persevered. Like the feedback from the people, I go back to community, I love community, but really this community is their feedback, their participation, the effort that it was clear people put in. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool for us. So we want to keep that going. Yeah.
Yeah, the from when it was running, the people that were posting stuff on their social media pages and the comments that they were leaving, it was easy to reach out to a few people and just say, "What was your thoughts?" And yeah, just a lot of very happy people.
Good.
Um, Makes me a bit more nervous now that I know that there's people I'll be competing against in 10 weeks that have
Yeah.
done this and I didn't. So um, whatever, it's fine. But I think it does. I think that program just kind of segues perfectly into the last thing that I just want to talk
Yeah.
with you about, which is setting goals
Mm.
as a
Mhm.
speed puzzler. And we've touched on goal setting quite a bit already today, but just a little bit more focus on it, that people that might be struggling with this sort of aspect, there are so many more people joining speed puzzling. So if you're getting into it now and you're just kind of learning how to do it, as we both mentioned, it can be daunting comparing yourself to these one people that have been doing it for a long time. You could be coming in and you're really good, but it's a different mindset than just kind of sitting at a table when there's nothing else around. You've given great advice in the past, so I just want to focus on some key points.
Yeah.
For those of you watching this, if you don't already follow Devon on Instagram, which you should, at Devon's Puzzled on Instagram. Before the Canadian Nationals, you were doing some morning voice notes,
Mhm.
which I loved.
Good.
They're very soothing, very relaxed. I was like, this is a nice way, because there's always like, good morning. I was like, thank you. Good way to start the day. But it
Great.
was, you did focus on your personal goal setting and what other people might be doing. I hope those come back at some point. But they're very encouraging, and you focus a lot on your own personal goals. So why is it important for goal setting in general from a speed puzzler perspective? Why
Mhm.
is it important to set goals? Should we be setting goals or just go in there and just have fun and it is what it is?
I think you can do whatever you want when it comes to that. If you really are in it for the love of the game, if you will, don't set a goal. Don't do it. Go in, enjoy, embrace the experience, have the best time, meet tons of people, go home with a ton of stories. Heck, maybe that's the goal, right? Go home with 5 new stories that I like to quantify things with 5 new stories that you can tell your friends and your family that made whatever competition experience just really special for you. Um, in the event that you do want to have performance goals, then think about them in a way that's going to help you feel energized and focused in your practice. And if you don't achieve them, that you're not devastated. Right? Feel the disappointment, like we talked about before. That is totally natural, totally normal, very human experience to feel the disappointment if you don't achieve what you thought you could or what you wanted to. But the more you get into speed puzzling, like any activity, right? The more you're calibrating your own goals anyway, because you understand the talent landscape, you understand the conditions, you understand a whole bunch more of the uncontrollables or the things that are just totally out of your control, like what table you're at. if the lighting is good, what puzzle shows up. Another phrase I use is puzzles don't care about your feelings,
Yep, very much
right?
so.
They
Yep.
don't care. They're just there. They're just hanging out. They're just expecting you to solve them. They don't care about your feelings. So see how you can, maybe one of the goals is to feel less frustrated when you get a puzzle that is not your vibe, right? So that can be another goal. So you can think about goals, or at least I think about goals, and I recommend this. What are your performance goals? What are your like actual like behavioral goals, perhaps? And then what are your social goals? So social goals, meet all the people, get everybody's Instagram, trade your pins. That community feel is actually pretty stellar in this community. The behavioral goals could have a little bit to do with your end results, but maybe the behavioral goals are more about um, how you're readying yourself when you're sitting at the seat. What is a repeatable way of getting ready to go? Is there a particular shape sorting map you want to use? Always. And did you do that? So that's a yes, I did, or no, I didn't. Right. And if no, I didn't, what did I learn? Perhaps the behavioral goal is doubling down on your team's sense of psychological safety, what you actually do to contribute to that,
Yeah.
right? How are you cheering them on? When are you checking in with folks? Do you just not talk? Maybe your goal behaviorally is to talk a little more,
Yep.
or voice a little bit stronger of an opinion, perhaps, or check in with somebody. How you doing? Anybody want to switch? I'm feeling okay over here, but we're a little quiet now, so I just want to check in with folks to see if someone wants to rotate. And then you have like your results stuff. And I've since, Adam, you so caringly pointed out that my positions have been decreasing over the last few years, which is accurate, fair enough. Um, I've looked at my ranking goals a little bit differently, where it's like time to first, like what's my gap rather than what's my placement.
Yep.
Because and this is just such a good reality check example for folks going to Worlds too. So I came 78th last year. My time was, I think I finished 54:54. It was like a really cool, like even time. I liked it. Looked good. Wish it was lower, but it looked good, right? Um, but in that minute from 54:00 to 54:54, there were 15 finishers.
Yep.
Every second counts in a situation like that. So if I was like so gung ho that I needed my actual ranking to be in the top 50 versus it would be super cool to be within 10 minutes of Kristen, right?
Yep.
It's a different feeling when you leave the floor, where the ranking can be what it'll be, but oh my gosh, last year I was 20 minutes away from Alejandro, and this year I'm 15 minutes away from Kristen. Objectively, I'm getting faster,
Yeah.
right?
And
So look at it in that way too. That would
yeah.
be that would be my recommendation.
Yeah. I mentioned something around those lines to you leading up to it,
You
where
betcha.
I
Yeah.
kind of just did the same thing, where it was I don't have the expectation of winning the nationals. There's always an outside shot if you get the absolute perfect puzzle. How many pieces land face up when you open the bag? Like there's all those like little factors
Yeah.
that we don't think add to the time. But if there's 5 seconds difference, well, maybe you had 20 pieces land upright that I didn't. Like there's so many small things that all the edges come out faster and just those. So it is looking at that time difference. And yeah, my distance between first and where I finished does get a little bit smaller each year. It will plateau as things do, but then it's readjusting for different goals at that
Mhm.
point. Are there any goals that you see people make where you're like, yeah, don't, or that might
Oh,
not be the path you want to
question.
go down?
That's a
And not
I
so
haven't
not
thought about that. That's a great question.
and not
Mm,
necessarily things like, well, I'm going to Worlds and I'm going to win.
mm,
You're kind of setting yourself up um, for disaster. If you're going in, there are some people that are definitely going to Worlds with that expectation. But if you're like a first time Worlds person, or you've never really finished a puzzle under 50 minutes, let alone under 40 minutes, well, your odds are not great. Um,
yeah. I wonder, the first thing that popped into my mind was if, and this is a quote that I'm going to butcher right now that somebody way more intelligent than me came up with, but it was something like, if you think you can't, you won't. So
Yeah,
that, just unencumbered optimism of folks saying, I want to show up and I want to win, um, go for it. Right? They're the ones who are going to have to manage their feelings afterward, right? So,
yeah,
but if you want to have that optimistic energy going into it, I might say maybe don't frame it as I'm going to win. Maybe say I'm going to get my personal best. I don't care what that puzzle is. I'm getting my personal best walking off that floor. Or for the first time, I'm actually going to follow a plan, right?
yeah,
Some
yeah,
of us don't. Some of us go
yeah,
in with the best of intentions and then we flail all over the place.
yeah,
So
yeah.
have
Good
that.
point.
There you go. Maybe it is a great idea to have that just um, unencumbered optimism is what I'll call it off the cuff here. To say I'm going to go do this and I'm going to feel great about it. Right? Act as if, right? You can do that, but maybe the act as if meter it a little bit. So it's not act as if you're going to win first, but maybe act as if you're going to get your personal best.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
those are two very different goals.
you bet.
Depending on what you are,
Mhm.
what you're going in there for. I think that's kind of relates to this other question where it's if you are one of the top Canadian speed puzzlers, you are one of the most experienced Canadian speed puzzlers. You have I think I have it written down here where you're tied for the most ever individual events entered for
Mhm.
Canada. First out of 624 people ish, give or take a few. So that's quite a lot. So a lot of experience. Third most in pairs, second most in teams. So highly experienced. So you've had a lot of experience kind of doing the goal setting and you kind of know where you stand. But I know there's going to be some people that watch this that are much newer. It could be people that were in your Build Your Edge program
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
are setting these goals. Some of them are going to Worlds, some of them will compete till Nationals next year or virtually something. Um, what advice could you give to those individuals setting their first goals? Very tough question.
Yeah.
It's different. It's going to be different for everyone, which I
It
get.
will. It will. But I think the cornerstone of any advice I would give them is be kind to yourself. We all started somewhere.
You know,
We did. We all started somewhere. And maybe that somewhere was faster for some folks and not as fast for others. But um get on the bus and take it for a ride.
yeah, yeah. They've done the first step, which is the toughest step always by signing up and doing what it is. And
Mhm.
like for me, it's reminding, especially people that are newer to it, that there are going to be there's going to be bad days with
Yeah.
the puzzle. There will be days where it's just not the puzzle for you. It could
Yep.
be like I said, I am not a morning puzzler.
Mm.
I don't think nearly as quick. So I have to adjust my training and everything else that goes along with that
Mhm.
because I can almost guarantee that I will be in Group A or B at Worlds qualifying for nationals. There's no way I'm getting the afternoon slots in Group J or something like that. It'll be a morning activity. But yeah, I see people that can get discouraged
Mhm.
because it doesn't go, especially at the start. And I'm guilty of that. And I've said it to people before. If I didn't make the finals in my first Canadian nationals, I'm probably not going back.
Mm.
Um, I'm definitely not sitting here talking to you a couple years on and going to Worlds in a few months. And so, yeah, because I'm competitive. I
Mhm.
would have done. I did it once and moved on, but I probably would have regretted that. Like
Mhm.
it was my first competition, and who knows what can happen with it. So yeah, with the new people, um, just having realistic expectations
Mhm.
at the start. But also knowing that this is the first big moment. It's how you do it is setting the bar, and everything after that is it's trying to do a little bit better each time.
And then the kind of the bonus round of all of this is once you get to know the community and the players and the activities and the opportunities and where you can create your own little space in this. Maybe it ends up that you actually love commentating more than you love speed puzzling, right? Maybe it
Better
ends
game.
up that you want to host a boot camp instead of putting the hours into practice, you're putting the hours in to help others get better. Maybe it's
Yeah.
both, right? So it's not, I would love, here's my advice. This is so circling back to your question. I think I have an answer now. My advice to people new to this is there is more to performance puzzling than just the puzzling. Okay. So keep that in mind as you go in and you're developing your skills and you're trying new things and you're speed running puzzles and you're leisurely doing puzzles and you can't help yourself but speed run those too, even though they're not for speed running because you just do it all the time now. Those things are going to seep into a variety of activities. But keep in mind there's other stuff around this world, around this community, this global movement. It's growing every year. Maybe you want to come to Worlds and not even compete. You want to come to
Which
Worlds
some
and
people
you
do.
want to exactly, and you want to cover it for your YouTube channel,
Yeah.
right? There are so many things that you can do in the what I would call and what we kind of call like the puzzle fan part of the community versus the speed puzzler or the performance puzzler part of the community, right? You could host events. Like there's so many ways to celebrate this type of stuff if you end up um, not loving the competitive part of it. That's okay. That's okay. I think there's a space for everybody.
There definitely is. And
Yeah.
it's a I find it's a very inclusive community as a whole. Like
Mhm.
I've not come across any. And it could just be because I'm not talking to enough people, but I'm talking to more and more, and there's sometimes people like aren't happy with certain puzzle choices, whatever,
Sure.
or whatever. That's different. But when it comes to the community itself, I find everyone is so supportive, almost annoyingly supportive sometimes. Like it's still a competition, but
Yeah.
whatever. But everyone is very, very supportive of each other. What also stands out to me is how females specifically are
Mm.
very, very well represented in this event. It's obviously across all genders and for everybody, but females specifically, if you just look at like the Canadian um, rankings and finishing times, it's very, very much heavily female based. There's only a couple non-female identifying individuals that are in even the top 20 spots, top 30 spots.
Mhm.
Look at Worlds. Yeah, we have Alejandro, there's Victor, and a few other really strong people. Why do you think there's so many? Why do you think it's so female positively focused?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Is it because women we travel in packs? We do, right? Go to the bathroom in a pack. You go all we're pack animals, right? So maybe like one of us tries something, we bring everybody else in, and now there's all these women everywhere, right? So that could be one reason. I would love to see like actual like consumer statistics on who are the primary purchasers of puzzles in general are, because that's like your gateway into this, like liking puzzles to begin with, right? So I wonder.
My guess would be older senior citizen females would probably be
Mm,
up there as total puzzles.
mm,
But I think that's changed a lot since COVID. I think that changed everything for
I
the
think
speed
so.
puzzling community specifically.
Yeah,
Because what else did we really have to do during a lot of that time?
yeah.
I know that's what kicked it off for me.
Mhm.
But yeah, it would be interesting. would be interesting to see those different numbers
Right.
with it.
Yeah, I
Um,
will tell you though, there were some um there was some diversity in gender in our boot camp, including my dad.
really?
My dad, oh, he was never really an avid puzzler, avid gardener, always out in the garden doing those types of things, but never inside doing a puzzle until he binge watched. Remember the website created with all the links for
Yeah.
my mom, but my dad was there too, watching as well. They watched all of the live streams, even the ones I wasn't in. And then when I get back from Spain and go visit my folks, my dad was asking me all these questions about all the top puzzlers and like, did you meet Kristen? And like he was just hooked. And he's not a terribly fast puzzler, but he wanted to learn. So he joined the beginners track on the Saturday and competed with everybody else. And his competition time for his puzzle was over 5 hours, but he did it,
Yeah.
right? So that was really cool to see that, you know, the family and the support from others in our own circles and getting them involved. So I think of it as almost like a positive feedback loop, essentially. So once more non-females join their circles, maybe they'll encourage them to join and then to join, and then we'll have maybe a little bit more leveling off. Um, but it is quite a tremendous community that we have here,
Yeah.
and I love any and every opportunity to celebrate that. But I do think it's funny because women do, we travel in packs. So
It
could have
it
something
is
to do with it.
it is funny watching it being at the competitions. There's not a lot of male male participants, which I'm
Mhm.
perfectly fine with because that means my ranking as a male, it's I think I'm number one right now in
There
Canada, so
you
I am loving that.
go.
But it's funny watching all the puzzle spouses, uh, mostly husbands, standing
Mhm.
standing around, waiting, cheering everybody on. It's very fun to
Mhm.
watch that happen. Yeah, just to wrap things up, I think at this point, just finishing off the goal aspect. Do you have any personal puzzle goals that you have right now that you want to share?
Yeah, I have recently come into some giant puzzles, like think 18,000 pieces and up. And I would actually like to finish one of them. So I haven't cracked the bags yet. So after Worlds,
Yeah,
I have a completion goal of getting through. It's going to be really fun of completing one of those giant puzzles because my focus has been just so much on personal practice, pairs and teams practice, the boot camp, right? The fun events we're having through the summer, the new social site that we launched. Like it's been so focused on that. I would love after Worlds to have that leisure moment just for myself, just to, reignite that love of all of this stuff. But I do think at Worlds, I think we can podium in pairs. I think we can podium in teams, which is top 10 in that context.
yeah.
And I'm just happy to be there for individuals.
No, that's. Are you you're going to? Are you speed puzzling the 18,000?
I will not be. I will try my very best to put my timer away, put my phone somewhere else so I don't just sneakily time it that. You know what? I'm going to have to track it. I'm
Yeah,
going to
I don't
have to
know how
know
you
how long it
don't.
takes me.
Yeah,
So I won't
but
speed run it, but I will track it.
yeah. Will Doug be allowed near those?
I think he very willingly will not want to get near them.
Fair enough.
That's probably the case. But Duck is actually competing. So Sandy Foster, Duncan Foster, they're some really good puzzle friends of ours. And Doug and Duncan are traditionally the husbands or the significant others of the group. And
Significant.
Doug and Duncan are teaming up for Pairs at Worlds.
Are they? That'll
They
be
are.
an interesting pairing.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll it'll be really cool to watch. We're really excited for them. You know, you're already there. So here's the message to all the significant others and family and friends that are going to Worlds to support their people. Why not participate in something,
Yeah,
right? Maybe
and
you don't
with
want to do teams because that's like 3 hours of 2,000 pieces, but do pairs. It could be so much fun to just experience what it feels like to be at that table.
yeah, and there are still spots available, lots of
Yeah.
spots. So
Yeah.
if you are going over there, build the Canadian team, make it
Yeah.
bigger.
You're already there, right?
Yeah, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Enter one of the other rounds, which is
Mhm.
great. Um, no, that's all good. This was great. I have just a couple wrap up question things here. So as part of this channel, there will be a section dedicated to providing some sort of advice and tips for people that might not be able to attend your types of programs, or they can just watch at their leisure to kind of practice speed puzzling.
Mhm.
Um, do you have a tip or a piece of advice that you want to provide me that I can try in a future video? A challenge for me to try
Oh,
a speed puzzling tip could be anything. I've not posted any of these videos yet, so there's nothing already released.
okay. Okay. So I get the first tip then. I like this. Sometimes in puzzling with other people, you do not get to sit in your ideal spot uh,
Mm,
for for the orientation of the puzzle that makes you fastest.
true.
Some people hate puzzling upside down. Some people hate puzzling on a 90-degree angle. So my challenge for you is pick one of those two, whichever one you find most difficult, and speed run 500 that way.
Okay. It
Yeah.
will definitely be the 90-degree angle.
Oh, same.
That is not it.
Yep.
Because yeah, I've spent many years as a teacher, so marking and reading kids' work upside down. The upside down stuff, that's okay. It's that sideways thing.
Yes.
So okay, I will try that sideways.
Yeah.
Because that is tough. That is good.
The
Um,
tricky one. Yeah.
it is a tricky one. Um, okay, I'm just gonna finish off with some quick fire questions. Um, Peace Talks does this as well. I didn't take it from them. It was on other things as well.
Yeah.
But I did, in full openness, I sent these to you in advance. So they're
Yes.
quick fire, but a little bit more open ended.
Okay.
You just need to say whatever your answer is, and we'll just go through this to close this out. Here we go. Your favorite puzzle brand,
Ravensburger.
favorite piece count,
500.
favorite cut style,
Oh, ribbon cut.
yeah. Your favorite speed puzzle event.
Ooh, nationals.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna focus it down a bit more. What about
Oh, like
within
round.
animals?
Okay. I feel like this is the Miss Congeniality answer when she's like April 25th because it's a perfect date. I can't remember. Um, Pears. Yeah.
Your favorite puzzler.
Favorite puzzler. Yes. Um, my grandfather.
Shout out to your grandfather.
Yeah.
Um, your favorite puzzle that you've ever finished.
That changes, but right now it's one of the Ravensburger 500 circle of colors donuts.
Oh, I just did that. Loved it. Loved that
It's
one.
so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Um, good one. Um, your hardest puzzle that you've ever done.
Uh, the one behind you, the team's final. Um, that's the hardest one I've done with other people. The hardest one I've ever done was the qualification round from Worlds last year, and it's like sunsets in Copenhagen or something. It was all brown,
Yep.
brown,
Okay.
just all brown. So that was a struggle.
Sticking with that, maybe. What's your least favorite design to see on a puzzle?
Mm.
Where you open that bag and you're like, oh no.
Super, super, super busy
Okay.
or muddy, like colors that kind of meld into each other. It's just
Yeah.
not as clear for sorting or assembly or any of that.
Yeah, some of the artist puzzles can be tough
They
with their
are. Yeah.
painting strokes. That's
Yeah.
those come out.
Pink
Um,
flowers, paint stroke, pink flowers. Yeah, that's a good one.
the puzzle's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's,
for the record, it's gorgeous, but
you've had a lot of experiences, competitively, non-competitively, stuff like that. What's your favorite puzzle moment?
oh, okay, this is gonna be out of left field. Okay.
Good.
Favorite puzzle moment, first worlds, Doug and I competing in the qualification round for pairs. Our goal was to finish the puzzle in under an hour, and we did. It was like 50, 59, 55. But that's not the moment. The moment was the table right behind Doug, Alma Bell, puzzler from Europe, who's, I don't know, she was 9 or 10 at the time. Um, she finished with her pairs partner there. And her mom was there and the family was around and everybody was crying and celebrating that this young girl had just done this really incredible thing and she beat us. It was really like she did really really well, but that was the first spark I think I got, Adam, about how cool this community could really be and how supportive it could be and how inclusive it could be. So that was a cool moment. Yeah.
That is quite the answer. I like that. Um, two more. What's your favorite way to get new puzzles that doesn't include purchasing them from Puzzles Canada? Because that is going to be a popular one, but other way to get
Exactly.
them.
Other ways. I have been really lucky. This is not an ad, but I have been really lucky finding super obscure puzzles, including European Ravensburger puzzles at HomeSense.
Yes. Yeah.
So check it, like super random stuff from years ago. Um, really good, actually. Yeah. I don't go there weekly, I swear.
And last one. What's your dream puzzle that you've not done but wish you could?
I struggle with this one. If I had to choose, I really want to try the world's biggest puzzle, which I think at this point is that 64,000 piece puzzle from Costco. It's you can't buy it anymore.
Yes.
You can only
Yeah.
find it on eBay, but I saw it and was like, that would be super cool. That would be really, really cool. Um, from a giant and I've never done a giant puzzle, folks. Full disclaimer, I don't even know if I like them, but
Yeah.
trying a giant puzzle in general would be super cool. My other answer, the Canadian answer, though, was your team's round at this past nationals, the Halifax Harbor. I have it. I haven't done it yet. I think it is beautiful. That is one of my favorite styles of art for a puzzle. So when I saw you guys got it, I was super jealous. Bought it right away. So I'm really excited to get to do that one.
That's an interesting one. No, I like that. And if you separate, but if when you do the large puzzles, like there's those big Disney ones, and
Mhm.
um, would you, because they come in separate bags,
Mhm.
would you do it that way or mix them all together?
No, I would listen, they're designed that way for a reason. So I just want to respect the way the designers intended and just do it in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Maybe the first time, I think I would still try it once, spend a year doing it. But no, that was great. Thank you so much, Devin,
You're so
for doing
welcome.
this and spending so much time. Wow, spending so much time
We
talking
could
about
talk for
puzzle and
hours.
speed puzzling and your um, organization that your build your own edge programs and anything else. Is there any links or social media pages that you want to mention that I'll include in the description below?
You bet. You bet. So Devon's Puzzled on Instagram and TikTok. I am typically quite puzzled in my day-to-day life, so I thought that handle was fitting. And CanadianSpeedPuzzlers.ca. We're gearing up for some additional events, including one that Adam, we're going to invite you to because it's for people who are gearing up for Worlds later in the summertime. So stay tuned for more about that. Everybody's welcome, but it's targeted the audience toward people going to Worlds. We'll do our boot camp in the fall as well, but all of this is with the intention to grow the puzzling community in Canada and really amp up what speed puzzling can be and what performance puzzling can bring to everybody. So thank you so much for starting this channel because this is going to be a big part of all of that.
yeah. The focusing on Canadians, at
Yeah.
least to start,
Yep.
is a big thing, and it's great seeing that community keep on growing, and
Mhm.
you being a big part of facilitating all of all of that, and using your celebrity puzzle status to really contribute positively for all of this, which is great to see. But yeah, thank you again. Thanks so much for doing this, and I'm sure we'll speak very soon.
Gotcha.
It was lovely having you here.
Thanks so much.